Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you another round of Kinnicky Answer Me. And all this is put together by my man, co-host Jack Kinnicky. Jack, my man, how are things?
Here to bring the stats, Dave. Here to do it. Here to break down the tactics of how we can, maybe, disassemble maybe Marcelo Bielsa's side. This is the first meeting between Antonio Conte and Marcelo Bielsa, so I figured I'd give Conte a bit of help. Just a bit of extra homework to do, maybe on how maybe we can take them apart. A lot of good things though happen. Maybe just quickly, David, outside of Spurs today,
Yeah.
I think we had the Man United, of course. Huge upset. With Emmanuel Dennis as well, who I have on my fantasy team. Had an absolute worldie today. I feel very happy about that as well. We saw obviously the scum get absolutely thrashed by Liverpool. If you had to pick between the two teams, sometimes you want to see the Reds lose, sometimes you want to see the scum lose, but in that sort of fashion, you like to see Mikel Arteta, the human cone, lose in that sort of fashion, which was honestly brilliant. The type of humbling, the type of reality check we love to see, David. And then as well, before this, stats with Jack, I was watching a little bit of Fiorentina versus AC Milan, and it was an absolute worldie of a match, especially Dusan Vlahovic just popped up with a brace as well, which is all good signs as well. He had an absolutely class rounding of the keeper, kind of David Harris style, but I didn't catch a second goal, which I will. But honestly, a great game over there. Just all good things out in the world of football right now as well, Dave.
Jack, it's absolutely fantastic. Look, I'll be honest with you. All days, Jack, I was, dragged around shops being the bag carrier for the afternoon, kind of getting the Christmas prezzies out of the way. Came back, sat down. I said I was feeling a bit weak, Jack. My sugar levels were low, so I had a kind of fizzy pop. I know I shouldn't have. But you know what? Open Sky Sports straight away, an advert, for come and get your shoe shined. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You know what I mean? Ole Gunnar shoe shiner now under pressure. Maybe that's what he gets for taking a break off the international break. And then, of course, that scum down the road getting an absolute pelting back where they belong on the losing track. Absolutely love to see it. It's been a great day all around, I have to say. It really has. And, of course, the mighty Tottenham Hotspur returning tomorrow, returning to winning ways under the Godfather himself, Antonio Conte, and no more international football till at least I think it's February or March.
Ooh,
so it's absolutely beautiful. But look, Jack, as we know, we always like to see who's in the building out of the Flat Cap Army, the Irish Hotspur Army. Let's see who we've got. We've got Celery Agent, my man, beat himself up. Adam says, a Saturday night with Dave, Jack, and the Harris Army can't get much better than that. My man, absolutely love it. This is for all the people out there that are not out at home, getting pumped up for tomorrow's game.
It's absolute vibes.
Pick yourself up, Adam. It's absolutely vibes. And don't worry, guys. Normal service will resume. Once I do the introductions, I will be shutting up, and then Jack will be taking over, telling you absolutely everything you need to know. Killian Kenny says, big up, David Harris. You know what time it is. It's your boy, Killian Kenny, on the Irish Hotspur. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, Killian. Big up, Killian. Absolutely love it. The regulars in the house, big up the Harris Army. Let's get the Conte ball going tomorrow, my man. Let's do it, regular. Let's do it. Chris is in the house, evening up, big up. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Big yourself up, my man.
Legend.
Noah Jurgen says, sub and like. You tell him, Noah, big yourself up, my man. I hope you were keeping well. Kuva's in the building. Kuva, you in the groove. Big yourself up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. What a man. JC is in the house. He says, good evening, fellas. Big up to all the Harris Army. 2-1 Tottenham tomorrow. Kane to start firing on all cylinders. Come on, you Spurs. I've actually got some very interesting stats on all of this. I will be breaking them out tomorrow at 12 p.m. for your build-up.
Hiding some stats from me, Dave. I see you're hiding some stats away from me there.
Well, Jack, I'll be honest with you. Look, I've only found them all and put them all together in the last hour. But there's some interesting ones. But I'll be honest with you, I think you probably have them covered anyway. As soon as you say them, I'll be so deflated. Because, sometimes my aim is to go to the dark corners and get the ones you don't have, Jack. Dark Sun G. Big up, Jack. What do you want to say, Dark Sun G?
Dark Sun G.
He's missing over the international breaks.
Dark Sun G, it's good to have you back. Probably, kind of like David here, you're probably hiding some stats from me as well, but that's all good at the end of the day. I'm a bit of a fiend on the street, kind of looking for that last hit of stats, kind of what I need to hold me over for the rest of the day. But Dark Sun G, hopefully you have some to hit me up with today. And as well, it's just to see you. It's good to see you back, brother. I know whatever you've been up to, probably all good things. And hopefully you're keeping well, as well, Dark Sun G. But I always love having you partnering me in crime for this one, Dark Sun G. Big yourself up.
Big up, Dark Sun G. What a man. What a man. It's good to see you in. And Son scored, actually. Son scored for you over the international break. I'd say you're absolutely running through glass windows, my man. Big yourself up. Kevin Ferguson's in the house. Big up, big man. Big yourself up, my man. Appreciate that. How you keeping, brother? James Watson's in the house. Big up, everyone. Come on, you Spurs. My man, James, I hope you're keeping well. Let me know. I think you're the guy that was going to meet up with Daigle for the game. Let me know. I think you are the guy. You know, and if you are, I hope you enjoy it.
That's right. Yeah. Meet up, wherever the Toronto bar is. I'm forgetting the name of it now. But yeah, meet him up there, James. Apparently, there's a nice warm seat being held for you over there. So head him on up.
Big up, James. Flaming Gamer 47. Ain't Bamford and Phillips injured? We should have it. Bamford, I know, is out. I'm not sure about Phillips, to be honest with you. I haven't heard about Phillips.
I think he's been confirmed to play.
Akash Grewal says, I hope Session plays tomorrow. Akash, look, he's
not
back.
Bad shout.
Might be a bit too soon, but look, we'll wait and see. You don't know what Nuno's going to do. Elias is in the house. Big up, everyone. Big yourself up, my man. We also have Derek Hutchinson. Big up, Dave and Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Derek, I've always seen you in here. I never actually asked you where you're from. Let me know what country you're from, Derek. Big yourself up.
Legend.
Para Miguel Escobardo. Good evening, fam. Hola Davide. Sergeant or Sergente Jacko.
Yeah, I think that was after my Milinkovic-Savic, scout report. Il Sergente, I believe, or Il Sergente over there, as they call him in Italy. But Para Miguel, you're the sergeant, my man. You're the sergeant. You're the sergeant of the Harris Army tonight. Keep them in check. Make sure that they're following in line, following in order. Big yourself up, Para Miguel.
Well, man, big up Para all the way from Lagos. What a man. Zanuska Ramshunder says, good evening all. Should have no problems tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. I love saying that name every time. It just rolls off the tongue. Man, it makes me sound like an MC, Jack. I
think when we first even read her name out loud, that's what we both said. What beautiful name. Beautiful name. Yeah,
big up. Sam Gam 05. Is Ollie out? No, look, keep him. Keep him. Ollie in all day long. Ollie in. Ronan O'Donnell, he's one happy man anyway. Evening all, big up, Ronan. Good win today. Thank you very much. Make sure you send on a message to Klopp and thank him for all Spurs fans.
I mean, I thought, honestly, though, Ronan, I thought Klopp was going a little bit crazy because I saw him arguing at a human cone earlier. I thought, maybe he had taken something before the game or something like that, because usually you don't argue at traffic cones, and things like that. And that's what he was doing. So, Ronan, just make sure that Klopp is okay for me, because I don't really like to see him going that crazy arguing at a human cone.
Oh, absolutely love it. Josh the Tottenham guy, he says, yo, Josh the Tottenham guy in the house. Big yourself up, Josh. I hope you're keeping well, my man. We have THFC Kirst. It's good to see you in the building. Big up, Kirst. She says, Harris Army. Big up, Don Dave. Big yourself up, Don Kirst. Big yourself up.
Big up Josh, though, as well. Absolute legend, Josh.
What's a female Don, Jack? What's a female Don?
I think it's also Don. I think Don, is non-gender specific. They can all be Dons, Dave.
I was going to say Donetta or something like that.
Yeah, maybe a Donetta. It sounds nice, actually, Dave. That's very clever. Maybe Donna or Donetta, but yeah, whatever it is, I think it doesn't matter. Same meaning. Big up Kirst, big up Josh, though. Absolute legend.
Legends. I think I'm going to have to learn some Italian as well. I want to start speaking some Italian.
No, I'm going to get you a Rosetta Stone for Christmas, Dave. I'm going to get you some Rosetta Stone.
Sean Snow's in the house. Zlatan is going to play till he's 60. Oh, what a guy, Zlatan. I absolutely love that man. George says, big up everyone, and a special big up to today's football results. Yeah, it's a good one. Honestly, I'd say accumulators were going down all over the place. Kyle Patrick Vineyard says, come on, you Spurs. Big up Kyle Patrick Vineyard. Hope you keep him well. And this man's in the building. Aaron Dove, he says, up all. A shame the Gooners and Manx got smashed. No, right. Come on, Aaron. It's great. It's fantastic. Dave Tyson's in the house. Member of the Dave Army. I hope you're keeping well. Big yourself up, my man. Tottenham Tantrum Gold is in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. The man with all the stats from New York, Jack, Statsman Kinnicky, and from Ireland, undisputed heavyweight Irish Spurs fan, number one, David, Irish Hotspur Harris. Come on, you Spurs. They are. Big up, my man, up Tottenham.
Big up, Dermot.
Big yourself up. Well, let me know if you'll be watching UFC tonight, Dermot. I know you're a fan. Alan Harris promised no relation of mine. I had to go and check with him as well. He's not. He says, evening flat caps and the Harris Army. Pick yourself up, Alan. We have ATX 7 Gaming. Big up, David and
Legend.
Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, ATX Gaming. It's good to see you in, my man. Let me see who else we have. Fazzy the firework man. He's in. He says that I'm in the press conference. Conte called Winks Winky. Let's call him Winky from now on. Yeah, Winky Stinky. That's what we'll be calling him, my man. But no, look, in fairness, I do have my concerns. But he did play when we smacked him 3-0 last year, so we'll wait and see how it pans out.
Mm.
Boston Chris is in the house. Big up, Boston. I love Boston people. He says, maybe start with a shot on goal tomorrow. Yes. Yes,
Wouldn't
we
be a
should.
bad shout.
I'm not giving away my stats until tomorrow, though. But yes, we should is the answer to that. I presume this guy knows the lad. Alfie Goslin, hi boys. Hope is all well. I think 4-0 Tottenham, Kane hat-trick, and Son with a 1 goal. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you flat cap army.
Love that, Alfie.
Up. We have Adrian Schrocka in the house. Death row, Ollie, stay out of execution is all but over. No, look, we should start pretending to be United fans, make a United fan accounts and start emailing the Old Trafford, and just say, please, look, we love Ollie. You know what I mean?
Trust the process. Just trust the process. You got your bumps and turns, when it comes to Ole. That's what we should be saying, everybody. Keep him in as best we can, because, as long as, Man United are crumbling, as long as, Arsenal get that reality check as they did today, that's all we want to see. Man United legends. I guess I don't even know if Arteta's really a legend, but, it's just, Cone managers over there. Just keep them all in as best we can.
No, absolute legend. Aglaya Kakaras is in the house. Big up, Ellie. I hope you're keeping well. Ellie Endomelli. Oh, my God. Ollie Defo getting sacked in the morning. Yeah, no, he probably is. But, look, I encourage everybody, please actually do get over and email them. Just quickly, Adam, he says, nice background. Yeah, look, we have one of the followers to thanks for that. In fairness, he knows who he is. I don't think that's any sort of special mention as far as I understand. But big yourself up and really appreciate it, my man. And there's a lot more to come. Absolutely brilliant, I have to say. Top notch. We're absolutely delighted with them. But Jacko, Dark Sun G's in the house. He says, Wolves beat the Hammers, which made my day.
I wasn't able. I was catching up on all the highlights today on stuff. I saw that Raul Jimenez scored. I will say, a bit of a shout out here. Maybe kind of replacing Giroud as one of the best looking strikers in the Premier League. But I would probably argue, Wolves are kind of looking pretty good now under Bruno Lage, and as well as Wang Hee-chan is getting so many reps over there as well. Dark Sun G is looking fantastic on the left wing. I didn't know he had the techers that he does. He's skinning men for a living over there, really bringing the best out of Raul Jimenez, and kind of makes me think I kind of feel bad for Jimenez because maybe the reason he's playing so well right now is just because he has another striker alongside of him that can actually finish. Because what happened before was Daniel Podence, he wasn't really cutting it in the finishing department. We all know Adama Traore couldn't hit the side of a barn door. We all know as well, Pedro Neto, the moment he got hurt, that really hurt Jimenez. So when you kind of think about, and he was under Nuno Espirito Santo, which we all know, wasn't exactly the best of attacking football. Kind of feel bad for a bit for Jimenez, and Wang Hee-chan is bringing out the best, from that very, very good number 9. So I would say Wang Hee-chan has been an absolute blessing to Wolves. So there you are, Dark Sun G, and I can tell you that definitely I've been falling in love with the guy. He's looking fantastic over there.
Big up, Dark Sun.
And also beating the Hammers is definitely not easy, especially, after that huge momentum that they just had, against Liverpool. I believe they flew home, Antonio early as well, Dark Sun G. So they flew him home early just to get spanked. I mean, who couldn't love that as well?
Absolutely love it. Big up, Dark Sun G. Carl Simpson says, even the lads Vlahovic banged in 2 tonight. He is world class. We need him at all costs.
His first goal was class.
I really do.
His first goal was class, Carl. Big yourself up. Absolute class. Rounds the keeper, David Harris style, just tucks it in, as he would. But yeah, I haven't seen the second one yet because that's when we were about to go live as well. So, but big up Carl Simpson. But yeah, I'm definitely going to check out that second one. Duchan, he's looking absolutely beautiful out there.
No, big up, Carl. Let's do another quick fire. See who else is with us, and then we have a couple more super chats to get to, and then I will pass over and let Jack get the stats. I know some of you are getting withdrawal symptoms right now. You're punching the screen, telling me to shut up. You just want to hear the stats. Do not worry, they are coming. As one, I can forget who it was, but he was always in the chat. He was like, Jack, inject it into my veins. He was absolutely loving it. Gary Stanley's in the house. Big up, guys. Conte Army. Come on, you effing Spurs. Big yourself up, my man. Kaguma's in. Hi, David. Hi, Jack. Big up, Kaguma. I hope you're keeping well. We also have, let me see. We've got a load in. Mark Swift is in the house. He says, hit like and sub. You can super chat too. Yeah, Mark. My man. Big up, Mark. And we also have Mr. K is in the house. My man, Mr. K. I hope you are keeping well. Let's see who else we have. Kuv with the super chat. Anything wearing red, getting a complete battering is great. Even Santa has a rough ride in this house.
I don't even know how to respond to that.
Yeah.
COVID-19, got to stop stumping me at some of these jokes. But all I can say is, at least one type of red was smacking another red tonight. A bit of red on red, kind of, slaughtering, maybe tonight as well. But all I can say is, everybody, even somebody who I hold very dear, a lot of people, who are, fellow stat men, and things like that, tacticians, were really praising Arsenal for what they're doing over there. And then they just get that nice humbling, that nice beating down, which is all we wanted to see, especially Ramsdale, is being given all the plaudits and all these things like that. He gets 4 sent past him. See Nuno Tavares, everybody's saying he's playing great. He gets, absolute howlers on it, as well as Tomiyasu, Ben Scheitz, kind of babysitter on the right-hand side as well, did not have a good game, which is nice to see. Sorry, Tiramisu, excuse me. And then Ben Scheidt was not looking good as well. I don't know, David. It's just brilliant to watch, really. Just nice, good old spanking.
Nah, big yourself up, Kuva. Look, it's absolutely brilliant. Look, when Santa comes to my house, I know he wears white, and it's white silk, my man. Only the best. Big up, Kuva. Big yourself up, my man. I do apologize. Some people are saying I said Nuno. Look, honestly, I just get caught up with what's in my mind. I do apologize. Of course, I mean the Don Conte. Dark Sung G says, I was surprised Son scored a penalty for Korea, to be honest, Jack.
Really? I feel like he'd probably be kind of solid, from the spot. Maybe that says something, though, because when Dele Alli was, playing in the side and Sonny was on the pitch, it was Dele Alli taking the pennies and not Sonny. So maybe I didn't really notice that or think much about that. So maybe Sonny's, kind of penalty record isn't as good as we like to think. I can tell you one thing, he's definitely not worse than Ismail Assar, because Ismail Assar can hit a penalty and to save his life, as we saw from those Watford highlights. So all I can tell you is Dark Sunji, keep the faith and maybe Sonny from the penalty spot. But maybe you could throw someone else in there, kind of like a Kong In Lee, or, that guy from Freiburg, who, for, usually I remember his name as well. Maybe could use him. Maybe even throw Kim Min-jae. I know Kim Min-jae is an absolute monster, so he probably could just hit a top ends if he likes. But definitely keep the faith in him from the penalty spot, Dark Sunji.
Big up, Dark Sung G. Absolutely delighted. I think you're going to the World Cup now, if I'm correct. So big yourself up, my man. Big up. Another quick fire through. Pete from the lane. Big up, lads. Pump for tomorrow. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Pete from the lane. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Hope you're keeping well. I'm going to try and get over for a day trip for a game in, I think, February. I'm looking at trying to get over for a day trip. And then, of course, me and Jack, the mighty Jack, will be over when you see us return to form against the mighty Banners, the Hammers. Can't wait. AV Troops is in the house. True Bryce is in the house. D-Trex Kane is also in the house. Legend. Big everybody up. What absolute legends.
D-Trex is
Paul
a legend.
Markey, he is. Paul Markey says, it's simple. Don't play Wally Winks to win a game. No, look, I agree with you. I do agree. I'll be honest with you. Look, when he plays in midfield, look, it's just easy to overrun the guy. Let's be honest with you. You know what I mean? If they start dominating the game, he's going to have to be hauled straight off. You're going to have to put someone else in there. But it is Leeds. We should be beating Leeds at least. Look, the next run of 4 or 5 games, we should be winning. We really should be winning. And look, Conte has to learn. He has to play these players. Skip can't play. I know he can play on Ndombele, but listening to his press conference, I'm not sure he will. Dele Alli put out a thing to Kyle Walker today to say he's ready for today's game. Whether he is or not, I don't really care, to be honest with you. If he plays, I just want him to see a performance. But look, I agree with you, Paul, but he did play in the 3-0 win last year at home as well. So let's see what he can do. Let's see.
That's why you watch the show, Paul. That's why you watch the show, maybe, because even when you have a bit of a hindrance, a bit of a handicap that, Harry Winks is, that's why you come over to this show, to see, how on earth can we even win a match against Leeds with Harry Winks, in the side. So thank you for tuning in, Paul. I will show you how we can still win with Harry Winks in the side. And hopefully, he just doesn't get overrun. That's all I can say, is like David said.
Nah, big up Crypto Pritch Gaming. Hey, guys. On train back from a tour of the stadium. Thanks for the entertainment. My man, big yourself up. I really hope you did enjoy it. Look, it's something I want to do. Honestly, brave man saying it. There's people out there that is going to cane you for doing that, my man. But big yourself up. I really want to do it. Do let me know if you had a good time and is it worth it. We have Mama Coates in the house. Hi, all. I'm excited for tomorrow. I say 2-1 Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. I can't wait. Look, score predictions. I think big tomorrow. Look, we have to unleash our team at some stage. Dark Sung G, we have to survive versus Liverpool, and then it's January. No, look, I agree, Dark Sung G. The Owl Lad's a Christmas, or the Owl Lad's a Liverpool fan as well. So look, it's, me and you, we definitely hope it comes, Dark Sung G. So we do. Jack, do you have anything to say?
No, hopefully, in a way, this kind of, win that they had against the Scum Dark Sun G is kind of maybe weirdly a blessing in disguise because, we all know that Liverpool are going to be kind of competing for the title this season. We can't deny that. We have to be realistic. But maybe they kind of go into this kind of like they did against the Wet Spam when you think about it. They're a bit overconfident, thinking that they're just going to kind of cruise control. And, it didn't happen that way. So hopefully it'll be a bit similar for us.
No, hopefully, Dark Sun G, we definitely do want to be beat. Look, even if we take a draw off Liverpool, I don't care. Even if we rob them, we get pelted for 90 minutes and we get the draw. I do not care, Dark Sun G.
Yeah.
Golden Cock in the house, evening all. I bet Alex is having an early night tonight, waking up with his duvet looking like a tent in the prospect of Winks and Davy start.
Jesus. That's a Kubik. That is honestly probably going to win the comment of the night. It might as well just give you the trophy. I'm going to give you the trophy, the Golden Cock. Going to give you it nice and early. That is an unbelievable comment. That is an unbelievable.
You guarantee he is correct. Alex will be in bed tucked up early tonight. He'd be down at the stadium earliest tomorrow. If anybody that arrives, Alex will be down there first, 100%. Big yourself up. The Truth Sets You Free is in the house. Big up, Truth Sets You Free.
Legend.
Lee Crisp is in. He says, come on, you Leeds. Big up, Lee Crisp. Hopefully we smack you tomorrow. I really do. Big yourself up. And we're nearly caught up with the chat. We will be getting into the stats now in 2 minutes, guys. Dark Sun G, the 3 pens I saw Sun shoot, 2 for career and 1 for Spurs versus Aston Villa. Aston Villa, the keeper blocked it, and either Sun scores a rebound or someone else does.
Interesting. So he's not, from Dark Sun G, this is where I feel like you just have a much better memory than I do. And you have almost like a photographic memory, especially when it comes to Spurs, than I do. Maybe that explains why maybe Sonny isn't exactly so trusted from the penalty spot, and would explain exactly, like I said earlier, maybe why Dele Alli was taking the pens instead of Sonny when you think about it, which I thought was quite peculiar. I guess, Sonny isn't as reliable from the penalty spot, which is quite surprising when you think about it. He is a deadly finisher. He's absolutely lethal. But sometimes, penalties aren't for everybody. So, it's not really a huge slight on the player. You're asking him to then just be absolutely perfect at that rate. So, if his one weakness is penalties, that's a fine weakness to have at the end of the day. But big up Dark Sun G.
In fairness, big up Dark Sun G. Big yourself up, my man. Claude Murphy's in the house as well. William Tiger as well. Unbelievable. Big yourselves up. Faz Radfar will be there tomorrow. Big banner. We love Kane. Come on, Fazzy. Man after my own heart. Man after my own heart. So, yeah. Guess who's back? Back again. Kane is back. Tell a friend. Kane is back. Kane is back. Kane is back. Kane is back. Nah. Cannot wait, Fazzy. Cannot wait. I'm telling you, it's going to come. It is going to come.
Jong Woo Young, thank you. Jong Woo Young. Jeez. Yeah.
I do want to see that flag though, Faz, tomorrow. Hopefully the cameras can get it in. But Jacko, take it away. Dark Sun G here.
Dark Sun G saying about Jong Woo Young, he scored his debut goal for Korea in the same game against Iraq. It was a beautiful link up between Sun, Hwang, and him. I mean, that I will tell you, that front three is absolutely spectacular when you think about it, actually, Dark Sun G. Jong Woo Young, I've really rated, actually, for the past 2 seasons. I've kind of kept my eye on him over there, especially this season in the Bundesliga, maybe a bit of a flat cap Euro talk kind of moment. Freiburg are absolutely doing wonders over there in the Bundesliga, really actually, kind of outdoing themselves. And Jong Woo Young is definitely having a fantastic season over there. He's really been, honestly, a quite lethal player. He can play kind of as a wing back, kind of, right mid kind of position. He can also play up front. He can practically play across the whole pitch. So I would say if you did a front three of Sonny, Jong Woo Young, and then as well as Hwang Hee-chan, that's absolutely deadly also as well. Lots of pace with that lineup as well. So I would definitely be licking my lips over that, Dark Sun G. You guys are starting to get a little bit spoiled over there with the attacking talent.
No, big up the Dark Sun G. Big up, my man. Truth Sets You Free says, hope you are all are well. Come on, you Spurs. Look, we're great. Look, it's like Christmas Eve every time Spurs play, with Christmas Day the following day, wake up, Tottenham are playing. It's unbelievable. How we get absolutely spoiled. Absolutely love it, Dark. The Truth Sets You Free. What an absolute legend. Look, we're all fantastic. We always are. That's why we always say you're a big, massive smiles, my man. Faz Radfar says, if Winky becomes good player, I'll call Conte God. I'll let Conte do many things, to be honest with you, if Winks becomes a good player. You know what I mean? But big up, Faz. Remains to be seen. Let's give the lad a chance. what, he's 7, 8, 9 chance. I don't know what it is, but look, let's give him another chance and see what he can do.
It's definitely though he's cut from the divine though, Conte. He's the second coming of Christ. So at the end of the day, he is definitely cut from the divine though, Faz. But definitely if he were to have, Winky have a good game, I'd certainly absolutely call him God.
No, look, I'll call him God anyway, just because I feel like Alexander Hilton. Hello, big yourself up, Alexander. Vince Vega's in the house as well. What a man. He is in the house. Big up, Vince Vega. And then Kaguma is in, and
Legend.
she says, would love to see Gil play under Conte. I miss seeing him play. I am a believer. When I saw his face, I said, I'm a believer. Look,
I feel like you could play that Lucas Moura position, a bit of a tactical kind of insight here. I feel like, if we're going to rock the 3-4-3 Kaguma, what do you say about him playing in that position that Lucas is? I mean, it's not like he'd be doing anything too differently from Lucas. He'd probably pick the ball up deep, try to drive it up the midfield, try to find someone in behind. He can cut inside just like Lucas does. He can easily play in the middle of the park like Lucas does. Probably will have, to a degree, as much as we all love Lucas, he would have a similar output. At the end of the day, he can't have much worse of an output than Lucas. So when you kind of think about it, I feel like he would be competing with Lucas for that kind of right-sided position of the 3-4-3. And, I will say also as well, a bit of a tactical insight, Brian Hill's last 6 or 5 games, I believe, for Ibar last season, he started on the right. As much as he likes to rate himself on the left, he can play on the right. So I would say maybe he should compete with Lucas for that, position in that 3-4-3 lineup. But big yourself up, Koguma. Really, absolute legend.
Big up, absolutely love it. And she says she loves when I sing this song as well. Look, I love when people mention it so I can sing it. It's just an excuse. But look, guys, good to see you all in. Good to see everyone well, in high spirits. Absolutely fantastic. But look, before we get into it, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button. The 1-year anniversary is tomorrow. We're nearly at 5K. We're about 150 off. Let's see if we can get any more in. Maybe make a bit of a drive and get there tomorrow. Let's wait and see. And look, feel free, guys, to get your super chats in and support the show. It's a great way to support us. Look, the amount of time and effort that, goes into the graphics that I do for them. And then Jack, doing everything he does, which, believe me, it takes all week, this one. It's probably the hardest working show of the week, to be honest with you. Look, we work hard on all of them, but this is the hardest. This one is the hardest put together. And Jack does a tremendous job. And the support is absolutely phenomenal. Look, guys, and also, if the chat does hot up, it just means you get to the very top of the queue. Christmas is coming. There's only one item left on the shelf, and you need that item. You're going to pay extra so you can skip that queue, pay for it, and get out the store before you get rugby tackled. But everybody, let's get into it. Jack, people are saying, shut this Irish guy up and give me the stats we need. So start giving it to them.
Let's start giving it to him, and we're going to start nice and easy with the cold hard facts, the cold hard stats maybe as well. This is the 100th meeting between the two sides. Leeds have lost their last 4 away matches to Spurs. So maybe, they're a bit better over, I believe, is it Ellen Road, David, for Leeds?
Ellen Road, yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So they're a bit better over Ellen Road, and maybe not so good when they come over to the White Hart Lane, or when they come over to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Only Norwich with 5 goals so far scored. I guess you can bump that up to 7 now. Have scored fewer Premier League goals than Spurs' 9. So I will say, hopefully we start banging them in, because I do not like that sort of stat. That is not a stat I feel comfortable with. Tottenham have had a shot on target, or haven't had a shot on target in either of the last 2 Premier League matches. So that would then mean we would probably be breaking the record ever since they started taking shot data and have been recording shot data since 2003. And if we were to go another match, which I don't see happening because Leeds do play a very open kind of game, I feel like there will be shots on target all around for either side. We probably will not break that record. But if we do break that record, I mean, I don't even know what to say. That's just absolutely horrible. So I'm not going to go too much into it. So we can then move on to the head-to-head. Spurs' all-time record against Leeds United. We've won 37, drawn 29, and lost 33. So interestingly enough, that kind of points you back to the days of when Leeds United were definitely a side to be reckoned with. When you think about it, it's a bit more even between us. But then again, we haven't played too many, matches against Leeds United. We kind of have, they're, recently back into the Premier League. Of course, they had that historic fall, and, we kind of were a bit kind of dormant, in terms of, having any sort of fixtures against Leeds. So it kind of does show that maybe, there are not a lot of stats to work with when it comes to records against, and you will see that later. But the last 5 fixtures between the two sides in all competitions, and this is just in all competitions, because if you go back to like when they faced each other in the Premier League, or going back to like almost 15 years ago, which I just don't think is very relevant at all when you think about it. So we've our last match against them, we did lose 3-1 or 1-3. We did win, at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium under Jose 3-0, and I believe this was a FA Cup match. We lost 1-2. And then as well, we did win one in an FA Cup match as well, 3-1, and then drawn 2-2. So, these teams kind of go back and forth between each other, which definitely could be said, definitely, will bring up, exciting games. But this is the first time Marcelo Bielsa and Antonio Conte have ever faced each other in their managerial careers. And these are absolute tacticians when you think about it, especially Marcelo Bielsa. He's honestly an absolute nut job over there sometimes, when, he's almost speaking to himself, talking to himself in the same way that almost Antonio Conte is almost talking to himself, on the sidelines. Definitely will be a very exciting one to look at. But I will tell you, everybody, this is the first, and I will stress it again, the first match between these two ever. They definitely respect each other. They definitely enjoy, kind of each other's kind of careers and success. But this will make it interesting because these guys are two absolute legends of the tactical game. They're definitely in their, Bielsa, is he in his prime? To a degree, you probably could say he is. But that guy's always been, an absolute legend. But definitely Antonio Conte coming up against him will be very interesting. And Marcelo Bielsa's record against Spurs, he's only played 2 matches against us in total, and he's won 1 and lost 1. And Antonio Conte has never faced Leeds United. So basically, this is all kind of a bit of a christening, between the two sides here. But let's get into some of the super chats here from Truth Sets Free. He says, we need someone tough and skilled in the middle, and we have a guy named Winky there right now. Patience. Yeah, tough and skilled are certainly not attributes that I would assign to Winky. At the same time, though, True Sets Free, we will kind of break down a bit later, to like maybe what he can actually do well, because when Winks does pass forward and it's not a hospital pass, he actually does have a bit of vision in front of him. I'm trying to be nice to him tonight just because I want to have the highest of hopes for him. I really do. But, I'd love to rather see Tanguy there. I really still feel like Tanguy would just offer so much more, even when, we feel like the work rate isn't there with Tanguy. I feel like it's still better than what Harry Winks can offer. But if it is Harry Winks tomorrow, I'm not going to be down in the dumps. I'm going to try to think optimistically about it. The only thing I would say, though, is especially the beginning of the game, Leeds do start off very hot and very heavy. They really do press very hard in the beginning of matches. And I feel like Winks, if the camera, spans on him, you might look at him and he probably looks like he's back in World War II in the trenches or something like that. And that's what I'm a bit worried about. I feel like he's going to get a bit kind of too daunted by the press. He likes all that time on the ball in the world, and he needs all that time on the ball in the world. And Leeds United are not going to grant that to him. They're definitely going to probably target him if he does play. But I'm going to try to break it down later for maybe what he can maybe do well. But True Sets Free, I certainly am not hopeful. Definitely didn't make David hopeful there. William Kelly says, but big up, Truth. Really appreciate it. William Kelly says, what would happen if Man United came after Conte, seen as soldiers? Solskjaer's job is untenable after losing to Watford. I don't even want to think about it. If they went after Conte, I feel like it's already too late. They'll have to go after someone else. I think anybody is probably better than Ole Gunnar at this rate. It seems like the players aren't even playing for him anymore, which is already the sign. Let's say a manager's not getting it right. That's on him. But then when the players are also not playing for him, then you really have lost it all, and there's no reason for you to be in the job. But then again, I would say I can see something building over there at Man United. I can see something, happening over there. So I would say keep Ole in for the time being, William Kelly. Definitely, I would say, it's just something I don't need to think about, honestly, William Kelly. We got Conte in, we got the Godfather in, we got the second coming of Christ in. So there's no reason to think about, what ifs. There's no reason to think about what ifs. Because we got the Godfather in. But what would you say to William Kelly, Dave?
Oh, William Kelly, look, I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't have any worries that they're going to come after Conte, to be honest with you. Look, he's only new into the Tottenham job. It's just a good job. We pulled the trigger when we did. That's what I would say, William. Conte won't be leaving to go to United anytime soon, my man, so I would not worry about it. Jack, please say Winky one more time.
Winky. I love it. I can't help myself. I think it's so accurate, perfect. Honestly.
It's perfect though, Jack, because been thinking of new nickname for him for quite a while, and then Conte just brings out Winky. So tomorrow our partnership could be Hobby and Winky tomorrow. That's not very intimidating at all, is it?
No, it's certainly not intimidating. But I will say Højbjerg is a bit more intimidating than a Winky is. But Dark Sun G, I would say, let us know, because he is David. He's almost like the final guy you pass it to, to the nicknames. Dark Sun G, do let me know if you're okay with us calling him Winky from now on. Maybe Easy Pass did need a bit of updating, but Easy Pass was a legendary nickname, I will say. But let us know at Dark Sun G, because you are the certificate of approval when it comes to the nicknames at the end of the day. But we will move on, everybody, to the Leeds United formation / basically Leeds United predicted lineup. What we do have here, it is kind of, I will say, Leeds United, if any team, had a structure, if any team had a solid bone of like a formation, it's not Leeds United. It really isn't. They basically are kind of like with Forshaw in there. They're kind of like a 4-2-3-1, but it really is more Calvin Phillips holding that midfield altogether. Forshaw basically goes forward with Rodrigo, Raphinha, and Harrison. So it's almost more like a 4-1-4-1 when you really think about it. But defensively, it's more like a 4-2-3-1. Rodrigo and James basically interchange with each other, almost kind of make decoy runs for each other. They almost both play like false nines. Raphinha, which we will break down later, absolute baller. I mean, honestly, the guy, I will say, just gives me a hard on sometimes the way that he does play out there. Jack Harrison, of course, on the left. Junior Firpo, everybody, he will probably be playing this one because they have been playing Pascal Struijk over there, and I do believe that Junior Firpo is ready to go for this one, and I'm almost confident that Marcelo Bielsa wouldn't risk that guy playing, who's naturally a center back, playing over at left back any longer, because he wants those guys bombing up and down the pitch. Liam Cooper, I believe his name is, will be playing on the left. Llorente on the right, and then Stuart Dallas, who we will be breaking down later, is going to be playing at right back. And this is what I predict happening, everybody, in the Meslier and the goalkeeper position down there. But there you are, everybody. That is the Leeds United predicted lineup. We do have another super chat in here from Truth Sets Free saying, will Winky grow some balls now under Conte? Listen, I feel like at a certain age, Truth Sets Free, that's when you probably lose the chance, to grow some balls. So hopefully you can grow something else, just maybe a bit of a backbone. Maybe you can grow a bit of a backbone. I think it's a bit too late, though, to grow some balls, if you ask me, when it comes to Winky. So hopefully, he can maybe grow that backbone that I'm talking about, for Leeds United. I will say, though, True Sets Free, you heard it here first. If he looks like he's in the trenches, if he looks like, he's almost been traumatized by the first 15 minutes, he can't even see straight. You heard it from me first, because I will tell you, I mean, there's nothing Winky hates more than, having a full press, full, kind of, high press, intense sort of press on him. He hates that sort of thing. So I will tell you, they definitely will be targeting him. Dark Sun G in the building saying, if the Don Conte says Winky, go for it. If he plays bad, he'll go from Winky to Wanky. No, it's an easy transition. It's an easy transition from Winky to Wanky. It certainly is, Dark Sun G. I love that. A lot of people have said when it comes to transfers, if Conte wants the guy in, then we can have him. It doesn't matter what I think. If Conte wants him, then I want him. If Conte calls him Winky, then that's what we'll call him. If Conte wants to call him Winky, that's what we'll call him. Maybe then, after the match, if Winky has sort of a bad game, maybe Conte might let the Wanky kind of slip on him. So maybe then we'll start calling him Wanky. But it certainly is an excellent opportunity, Dark Sun G. It certainly is an excellent opportunity. But let's break down this further, everybody. Let's break this down further with our key player. And I'm going to go through the stats here, and then I will ask David after all this. But I will say this is a bit of a Raphinha love moment. I would actually say when it comes to Raphinha, I would pay almost any price in the world for the guy. I was rewatching a few Leeds United matches, this week, to kind of get a good insight on kind of how they've been playing this season, because they're not as high scoring as they've been this season, but I feel like they're kind of still more or less playing the same sort of way, the same sort of fashion. And I will say Raphinha, that dude is ridiculous. Like what he goes for, what he attempts on players to try to embarrass them, the confidence that he plays with is just ridiculous. And we'll break down, the stats right here. He has the most goals in the entire Leeds United side with 5, most shots on target with 12, the most key passes, which it basically is any sort of pass that leads to a goal, any sort of pass that leads to a huge chance created with 21, the most progressive passes, which is a pass of 10 yards or more with 54, the most crosses with 26. You can already get kind of the hint here that this guy is basically the whole heartbeat of the Leeds United this season. The most shot creating actions, which is basically a fancy way of just saying chances created, with 41. The most successful dribbles that lead to a shot with 4, and that is a very impressive stat right there, because that is way more than any player in the Spurs side. The most players dribble past with 26. I mean, I will say the guy absolutely skins men for a living, and I'm saying that lightly. He actually skins men for a living. This guy, some of the attempts that he goes for, his composure when he's being, triple teamed, by players, when he's just being absolutely, kind of honestly being assaulted on the pitch, he still somehow finds a way out of it. He really is that ridiculous. He has the most megs in the entire Leeds United side, and I didn't check, but I'm pretty sure he has probably some of the most megs in the entire Premier League, with 7 so far this season. The most touches in the attacking penalty area with 47, and the most carries into the penalty area with 14. Basically said, everybody, Raphinha, as much as we kind of want to say that we'll absolutely smack Leeds United, this is a guy that can hurt us, and he can hurt any team in the Premier League. He is ridiculous. He is absurd. He is absurd. What he does on a pitch, what he does against certain defenders should be illegal. I mean, the dude's skills are absolutely insane. I would pay any price for Raphinha to take him away from Leeds United. I'm not even kidding. I think he's honestly a 70 million, 80 million pound player. I really do. I think he is that incredible. His work rate as well is really insane, because he's not really a guy who kind of just puts his head down, when they kind of lose, the ball. He's willing to win it back. He's willing kind of to do what Brian Hill kind of does, where he'll get himself back on side, try to win the ball back. I just feel like he's the perfect right winger. He really is the perfect right winger. But David, I mean, are you kind of a Raphinha fan like myself?
Do you know what, Jack? I really would like to sign him and get him into Tottenham. I think he'd be an ideal replacement for Lucas, to be honest with you. Look, the most goals, I believe it's 45% of Leeds Premier League goals he has so far this season. Yeah. Look, the most shots, key passes, progressive passes, crosses. Look,
it's basically every metric there is, like when you think about it.
He's their main man going forward. Look, that Bamford's been out with a serious injury. You're taking 17 goals out of the team straight away. And they have been rocked by a lot of injuries, but this guy has been consistent. And when Bamford went out injured, basically, Marcelo Bielsa was going to have to look for another way to replace them goals. And this is the guy stepping up. He seems to be the main man. He seems to be the go-to for Bielsa. And all the stats don't lie either, Jack.
No, the stats don't lie. And I will tell you, everybody, I mean, just look at those metrics right there, just quickly before we get to some of these super chats. That basically is every metric that you could ever lead in if you were a forward. When you think about it, the guy is just basically doing everything for them. He's able to get the ball up the pitch. He's able to create the most chances. He's scoring the most goals. He's beating the most players on the pitch. I mean, I don't think there's a metric that he couldn't lead in, maybe apart from maybe defensive output. But even when I rewatch the matches, the guy certainly does not lack when it comes to the defensive output as well. He really does like to pressure. He really does like to get forward. William Kelly here saying, I really hope we go for Jesse Lingard in January. Yeah, I just heard the news about him rejecting the contract. Would I go for Jesse Lingard? No. William Kelly, I hate to say it, I don't think I would. Maybe if we got rid of Dele Alli, if I had to pick between Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard, I would probably go for Lingard. I would much rather have Lingard than Dele Alli. But I feel like I don't know. I just don't really like to take Man United players, off of the books, if you ask me. But maybe that's just a bit of bias, William Kelly. But I certainly feel like Jesse Lingard has come into his own. He's definitely been able to, kind of overcome some of the really horrible kind of, off the field kind of tragedies and things like that have happened to him. And I feel like, he is becoming, one of his own kind of like players. And if I had to pick between Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard, I would take Jesse Lingard. But big yourself up, William Kelly. Ian Ferguson joining us in the building. Big up, Ian. Saying Conte should call Wink Stinky Winky until he improves, because right now he's playing like an actual Teletubby. I mean, here's the thing, though, Ian Ferguson. What the thing is with Teletubbies is that Teletubbies are actually a bit rounder. They're kind of a bit bigger. They probably take up more space in the midfield when you kind of think about it more than more than Winky. So I would say I'd much rather have a Teletubby probably bossing the park than I would probably Winky. A Teletubby at the end of the day would be kind of like a Wanyama kind of build. Somebody that could probably win the ball back high up the pitch, somebody that could be more of that destroying midfielder. To a degree, maybe a better replacement for Skippy. Or kind of not, replacement, more like a better kind of substitute for Skip, since Skip will be missing out on this match. I probably would rather have a Teletubby than Harry Winky. So that's just me, though. And I feel like maybe we just have to come up with a better metaphor. But just kidding, Ian. I feel like that's absolutely class. Really enjoyed that metaphor, and also really appreciate you. And absolutely, I think he is an actual Teletubby in real life. But I would say I'd much rather have a Teletubby if you ask me. Georgianiu, hopefully I said that right, but great name, by the way. He says, if Winks remains the same, we can call him Tinky Winky. Just imagine a Teletubby playing football. It seems like these guys must have been communicating with each other. I really don't get it. Maybe maybe was Winky a Teletubby? Maybe I'm missing something here.
Yeah.
Maybe was Winky a Teletubby? I'm forgetting, honestly, David. It's a bit embarrassing considering the Teletubbies weren't too long ago for me.
Tinky Winky, Lala, and Paw is what I can remember.
So that's why. So apparently everybody has a much better memory of the childhood, kind of days of watching television than I do. But big up George, big up Ian Ferguson. So now I'm actually getting it. Clearly, you guys are on the same wavelength. As always, I'm always a bit slow on some of your guys' jokes. You guys are a bit quicker than I am. But certainly, like I said, though, George, I'd much rather have a Teletubby than I would Tinky Winky. True Sets Free says we are taking so much smack about. Or we are talking so much smack about leagues like we are good. Then tomorrow they look like Barca 2013. Let's stay humble until we win. Then we both. True Sets Free. This is why you probably should stay tuned into the show, because I've kind of heard the 4-0s. I've heard the 5-0s. I've heard the 3-0s. I've watched Leeds this season. I kind of did a lot of research on kind of just rewatching their games. As much as I come at you with the stats, as much as I like to come at you with kind of the tactical analysis and the stats, I also do like to rewatch some of the matches of the teams that, we're coming up with against as well. And I will tell you, like Leeds United, it's a team. How do we put this correctly? It's a team that plays a certain style of football that you do have to be prepared for it being very end to end. You have to be prepared for a very almost kind of like, just like I said, like World War II, almost like basketball kind of match when you think about it, because it really is just box to box kind of play. It really is, a team that, will expose themselves, by getting too far forward. But let's say, like, put it this way, like against Leicester City, like their last match that they played, even they dominated the ball against them. They were absolutely bullying around Leicester City. They definitely should have won that match as well. And they'd only finished 1-1. So I would say, we, as much as maybe Leeds United have not been, the same team from last season, especially because of injuries, maybe a bit of second season syndrome, you can't take away, that kind of type of play that they do, which is very aggressive, very high pressing. And certain players that we have in this team certainly could falter to that. And I'm probably kind of, winking towards Tinky Winky when you think about it. I feel like he could probably really suffer against a team like Leeds United. So I am a bit worried. And I feel like any sort of huge, scoreline prediction, as much as I would love to believe it, I just don't really myself, because there hasn't been a team this season in the Premier League that has scored a ton past, Leeds United. It's been very weirdly kind of low scoring matches, but very exciting matches. So I will say, we've kind of been drowned out of very exciting matches, very entertaining matches. And I will tell you, Leeds United will give you an exciting and entertaining match. But big yourself up. True Sets Free as always. Spot on Jackie's lipstick on a pig there. Yeah, honestly, again, this is a bit, I think you're being a bit generous again, True Sets Free. Seriously, I think, at the end of the day, again, I would much rather have a pig in the midfield than I would, Harry Winks, even one with lipstick on it. But big yourself up, Truth. Really big yourself up. But there we are, everybody. That was a bit of Raphinha love, a bit of Raphinha kind of brilliance. And I would say we will break down later on why this guy could really hurt us tomorrow. And maybe because I'll just give a bit of a sneak peek. When you kind of think about it, he will be on Ben Davies' side. So Ben Davies made Aaron Wan-Bissaka look like a prime Cafu, against him. I don't even want to think about what Raphinha would look like against Ben Davies. That guy will be spinning him inside and out. But Stuart Dallas is going to be our unsung hero. And the reason why he's an unsung hero is because this guy can play practically any position in the park. And we'll ask maybe David's, kind of opinion on this after I break down the stats. Because what's funny about Stuart Dallas is that last season he was playing center mid. At some moments, he's almost looking like he was playing center back. Other moments he's playing center defensive mid. Other times he's playing right mid. Other times he's playing right back. Like, the guy can play almost any position in the park. It's just an all-around footballer when you think about it. He has the most carries into the final third with 23, which I was surprised Raphinha didn't have, because Raphinha was already dominating every stat there was in the entire Leeds United side. Most carries into the final third. Most passes completed under pressure, which is a fantastic stat. I know Kuva likes that stat as well. The most passes completed under pressure with 75. Second most passes into the final third with 41. Second most crosses into the penalty area with 3, which basically does show everybody why I think he will be starting at right back tomorrow, is because he's looked like a great right back, actually, under Leeds United. He has the most dribblers tackled with 11, which does show he can get stuck in, but we will kind of target him, I feel like, because he isn't the best defensively. Second most successful pressures with 47. The guy is very aggressive and is in fantastic shape in the way that he does play. Third most progressive carries with 53, which is very impressive again, especially for a right back. Second most interceptions with 20. Third most shot creating actions, which is also very impressive, I will say, because that's more than most players in our team when you think about it as well, with 22. Third most switches of play with 20, and the third most key passes with 14. Basically, what if you go into FBref, which is where I get all my stats, everybody, you'll just find any stat that you click on in the Leeds United side. Stuart Dallas is going to be sitting there in fourth position, third position, second position, first position when it comes to any stat you click on in the entire book, which I think does say a lot about that guy. He really is, I feel like, an all-around footballer. He can play any position in the park. He's probably Marcelo Bielsa's favorite type of player because he can play any sort of position. But David, do you have any insight maybe on Stuart Dallas? Have you seen any of this guy? I feel like what makes him kind of special and maybe an unsung hero to any Leeds United fans that are watching is the guy can play virtually anywhere.
I'll be honest with you, Jack, right? I don't watch too much of Leeds United, but when I have, even in the Championship, even and in the Premier League, this guy, he works incredibly hard, Jack. This guy is industrious. You know, he's liable to pop up with a couple of shots as well. You know what I mean? He just works very, very hard. He will be their most hardworking player tomorrow. He will be.
I really agree. He will be their most hardworking player. And I think he's been their most hardworking player, the past 2 seasons. You also think about it last season, it seemed like anytime, Leeds needed a late, winner, it felt like maybe it's just me. It felt like it was Stuart Dallas that always was getting that late minute winner as well. But COVID-99 saying spot on, Jack. I don't see much more than a 1-0 win. I kind of agree, COVID-99. So that's why when I was on We Are Tom TV for their match preview, giving my match prediction, I went for the 1-0. I kind of joked about going from a 3-1 down to a 2-1, and then I went to a 1-0. But I really do believe I think it's going to be a 1-0 or maybe a 2-0 or a 1-1 or a 2-1 if I'm being kind of harsh on us. So I don't see this being an easy match. I really don't see this being an easy match as much as I'd like it to be. If you think about the first or the next 5 matches, Kuva, this one might be one of the harder ones. This one actually might be one of the harder ones. True sets free. I meant Raphinha Jack lipstick comment. Maybe I don't get it then. Maybe because you can't put lipstick on a pig. I feel like Raphinha is absolutely class. I feel like he is absolutely class. If you ask me, true sets free. I feel like at the end of the day, the guy's, honestly sick. I think maybe I'm misinterpreting that sort of comment, or maybe that metaphor I'm misinterpreting. But I feel like Raphinha is honestly sick. I think he's honestly incredible. But David, maybe I am misinterpreting it.
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Maybe explain it. True sets free, but at the end of the day, to each his own. But just look at the stats right there with Raphinha. The guy is absolutely sick. I would pay $80 million, for that, or 80 million pounds for that pig on a lipstick, or that lipstick on a pig. I really would. We're gonna go to how do Leeds attack, everybody, and this one I feel like is going to be interesting because Leeds basically play a very sort of aggressive, sort of kind of attacking play style. We are going to do, let me go back to Raphinha, individual moment. Basically, the guy, he'll just have his individual moment where he'll skim past 3-4 players and basically have a shot on goal, put a decent ball across the 6, whatever it may be. But with this one, everybody, we are going to basically be doing kind of a Raphinha situation, which I feel like this is the scariest situation for me. It's basically going to be a moment where Raphinha is one-on-one with Ben Davies, and that is going to hurt us. Anytime I feel like Ben Davies is one-on-one with any sort of attacker, he really has struggled. And, like we said, when he was at left back, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, somehow somebody who really struggles to dribble by anybody, someone who really struggles to do anything sort of offensively, or anything of any sort of creative output whatsoever, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I felt like he was just tearing, Ben Davies a new one. And I feel like, if AWB, if Wan-Bissaka is able to do that, I can't even imagine what Raphinha will be able to do to him. So I will say, everybody, this is probably the biggest threat I could ever imagine to us, is basically Raphinha going one-on-one with Ben Davies. Just think about it. Ben Davies will be playing that left-sided center back. If we lose the ball, if the ball is turned over and Leeds United do break out of that, kind of situation very quickly, they will give it to Raphinha's feet very quickly. He is, I believe, the most targeted player, if I'm not mistaken. He might be the most targeted player in the entire Leeds United team as well. So they will look for him as often as possible. And that does mean then that Ben Davies will have to be up for it. It also means that Reggie, can't get too exposed, forward as well, but we need Reggie to get forward. I don't know, it's an uncomfortable situation because Reggie will have to get forward in order to stretch out Stuart Dallas. But then that does mean that there will be more one-on-one situations with Raphinha and Ben Davies. And I really hate to say it, I do back Raphinha probably to twist him in and out a few separate times. But there you are, everybody. That is my first kind of Leeds moment of how they could hurt us. Dark Sun G saying 3-1 or 2 for Spurs. Son, Reggie, Royale, Leeds. And then for Leeds, Dallas or Rodrigo. It's not bad, actually, goal shouts. I want that Reggie goal, especially that back post goal, Dark Sun G. I really do want that back post goal. I really want that Royale back post goal. I thought he was kind of robbed one against Everton as well. He tried to nod it into the floor. It seemed like he probably would have finished it, but it was good defending by Ben Godfrey. And then we all know Sonny is absolutely always back to win, always back to score as well. And then with Stuart Dallas, he seems to always pop up somehow with a goal. And then with Rodrigo is definitely someone who I could possibly see scoring. But then again, with Rodrigo, he's almost playing a weird kind of hybrid kind of cam role or number 10 role in that team. And he hasn't really been the best, from the scoring mark. But then again, I feel like I'd back him more than Daniel James to score, at least when it comes to being up front. Not a bad shout, really not a bad shout. But if anybody were to score, I would definitely say it should be Rodrigo. It really should be Rodrigo. But there you are, everybody. Raphinha is somebody that I definitely see scoring. Raphinha is someone that I feel like this is the most realistic danger to have is basically Raphinha going up against Ben Davies one-on-one. It really is absolutely terrifying if you ask me. I really can't think about it much longer, so I will move on to the next Leeds United threat, which is Rodrigo in behind, and also could just be Rodrigo basically creating a lot of space within the middle. This is a moment when we will see basically Rodrigo having a lot of space in the middle of the park. As we all know, like I said earlier, this will be a very fast-paced game. This will be a very fast-paced sort of type of play style. It basically is just kind of Leeds United breaking out the back, and we do kind of just get exposed. We lose the ball in a bad position, probably, let's say, in this scenario, and then what happens is it's a bit of one-touch football. Forshaw basically finds Rodrigo finding space in the middle of the park. He then finds Jack Harrison in with a through ball. And what's also very interesting here is that if Daniel James continues to play and they keep Jack Harrison and they keep Raphinha and they keep Rodrigo, that basically means that one of them is going to be playing that false nine position. Last time against Leicester City, it was Daniel James playing the false nine position, which could then mean that, Rodrigo will be kind of picking up those kind of spaces in between the midfielders in the back three, which I feel like does breed trouble because he does have a bit of pace. He does have a bit of wit about him in terms of, being able to find his teammates. I am kind of worried when it comes to it. That's why, though, I did go for the Raphinha one first, though, because I feel like Raphinha, anything that guy does, I am the most worried about. Where with Rodrigo doing something, I'm not so worried about. But I would say very much keep an eye on if Daniel James and Rodrigo play together. Keep an eye on for that kind of situation because when you think about it, it is a lot of pace up front. It is basically Jack Harrison, Rodrigo, Raphinha, and Daniel James all up front. Those are four players with a lot of pace, with a lot of ability to stretch the defense, a lot of ability to be able to get in behind the lanes, get through the channels. So it is kind of a bit worrisome, especially if they do kind of open us up in the midfield, especially in this scenario. I do have Winky kind of getting a bit exposed by Rodrigo, kind of losing, his man there, losing his marker. So I would say everybody, Rodrigo could definitely hurt us, but I feel like we can move on to the next one. Maybe I'll just let this play just to catch up with the comments here just for a quick moment. But I feel like, Letice is in the house, which is good to see. Good to see Letice and everyone else. But hopefully everybody, maybe you could say that Rodrigo is definitely somebody that could potentially hurt us. I feel like if anything, again, though, it definitely is going to be Raphinha that is going to hurt us. Harrison cross into the box. This is maybe the last sort of threat that I could see happening. Jack Harrison, he's had, decent moments for Leeds. And also he's had good moments where, he's able to either curl one into the top bins. He's able to cross the ball. He's a very hard-working player, just kind of like Raphinha, just nowhere near as talented. But this scenario, I basically, again, it's kind of similar to the Rodrigo goal. I basically just have us basically losing the ball in a scenario where they just basically press us and then they kind of unleash Jack Harrison here. And Jack Harrison just finds Rodrigo back post for a goal here. He's very good at cutting in on his left. He's very good at cutting in on his right. He can pass a ball or cross a ball across the six on his left foot. He can also, curl a ball back post with his right foot. Jack Harrison, at the end of the day, is a dangerous player when it comes to be able to creating things. But this is basically the second scenario. Again, really quickly, It is basically just Lucas Moura maybe getting a bit too excited and kind of getting pressed off the ball there. And then what happens is basically Jack Harrison sizes up Davinson Sanchez and then curls a ball back to Rodrigo back post. But we're going to play this one more time. And then I am going to ask David here on maybe what he thinks could be the most likely way that we might, if we were to concede, what would be the most likely one to Spurs. David seemed to have tapped off there, so I didn't notice that. Apologies. Cuba99 saying, Jack, we only conceded 21 goals on your we only conceded 21 goals on your Leeds attacking animation this week. As Conte had little white shirts on double training sessions too. That's one of my favorite jokes, Cuba99, because I think one of the last shows I did, while I was going through the comments, I was letting, the animation go on repeat. And I think we conceded over 70 goals or something like that to the other side. So Cuba99, maybe when Spurs are playing, I'll let, us maybe make back those 21 goals when I think about it. And then we'll probably win this one 23-21, at the end of the match. But Cuba99, as always, hopefully Conte gets the clean sheet. Getting a clean sheet against Leeds, I feel like would be very impressive because, again, it's not an easy team to play against. It really is not an easy team to play against. But David, to my question I was wanting to ask you earlier, if you had to pick between three players, that I kind of highlighted, as potential guys to be able to, kind of break apart this, Spurs defense, who would it be? Raphinha, Jack Harrison, Rodrigo? What would you see maybe happening if you had to guess?
Look, I think if Leeds score tomorrow, I do think it'll be Rodrigo. If he can get any space whatsoever at Ben Davies, he will skin him alive. He will skin him alive. Be prepared for it. He will. He'll just turn him inside out. It's what he does after that. So he's their main goal threat tomorrow. That's where I do see the goal coming from. But look, in essence, look, if you're playing Sanchez, Dyer, which I think he will play Sanchez because he will need that pace between Dyer with Dyer and with Ben Davies. So he will need that pace. So I do predict Davinson Sanchez comes in. But see, when that happens, Jack, is we're very susceptible then to either balls down the side or balls over the top. Yeah. And we know that we are shaky. With Davies, we've seen him be exposed before with balls over the top. Same as Sanchez, same as Dyer. All they have to do, if I was Bielsa tomorrow, if they were struggling to get a foothold in the game, I'd tell my top three to stay very, very high on our back three and just put long balls up there all day long because they will get dry out of them defenders. They're all prone to a switch off. They're all prone to letting the ball drop you behind them. And they're all prone to getting very nervous very, very quickly. So, look, all three of them could get a bit of dry there tomorrow. But if I see anybody scoring against us, I do think it would be Raphinha, Jack.
Yeah, I think as we highlighted, Dave, if anything's going to happen, it is basically just going to be that moment when we see Raphinha sizing up, Ben Davies like a big steak dinner, honestly, because he will know that he could absolutely twist that guy in and out. So I am very worried. But we were able to get through that kind of Leeds kind of attack very, very quickly there. So we are going to go on to maybe how do Leeds defend. This is actually weirdly quite easy and then quite hard compared to other teams that I've tried to kind of analyze. I've kind of looked at their structure and kind of thought, this is where they want to hurt you. This is where they don't want to be hurt, but when it comes to Leeds United, it's just kind of a bit, ridiculous. It's just basically man marking throughout the pitch. It's just high pressing throughout the pitch. It does allow them to get actually exposed. They are prone to errors actually that way, because if somebody does spin one of their defenders, that means we can really hurt them in behind. But as well, though, it does mean that, they will basically have someone almost on your back at all times, unless they're not doing it right, which could happen. Maybe somebody does lose their marker and then they do get a bit exposed. But basically what I am going to break down quickly here is just to show that what Leeds United do is basically just man marking throughout the whole pitch. It is a man marking high press system. It basically allows for a very high tempo sort of match. Lots of mistakes do happen, though, on both sides. Again, I feel like Leeds United have had some of the most mistakes that have come from defenders. I believe Liam Cooper even, and they don't take errors lightly, defensive errors, when it comes to FBref. Liam Cooper has already made 2 defensive errors this season, which does maybe suggest that, they can get exposed, and they do come out very, very fast. Leeds United, they do like to start off with a bang. They do like to start off very, very high tempo, which does really worry me, especially when it comes to Winky. It does really worry me when it comes to Ben Davies, because Ben Davies gets really flustered really easily as well. But also maybe it could open us up for maybe an early goal to kind of smack them in the mouth. It kind of goes both ways. They could kind of punch us in the mouth early, or maybe we punch them. But basically, there's not much of a structure when it comes to their defense. Basically, it's just Calvin Phillips kind of just sitting in there, holding that midfield position, And then the rest of the team basically just man marks, any person that they have in front of them, which does make it very, very interesting. It actually allows, when you think about it, it allows Harry Kane, a bit of freedom, because if Harry Kane loses his marker, if he drags someone away, that does maybe leave more space in behind for Sonny, leaves more space in behind for Lucas. But David, am I right in kind of saying this with Leeds United? It's just kind of ridiculous man marking, which to a degree could maybe mean that a guy like Sonny, a guy like Harry Kane could actually have some freedom this match.
No, they definitely could, Jack. Definitely could. Look, Leeds, there's not really a defensive structure, really. As say, it's all just kind of press up to the man on the ball, like you explained there, Jack. And look, Son, I think some will come out firing tomorrow. He's buyout off the back of the international duty. I think Kane, if he can get in behind his men and we can spot him and get the ball in behind, I think he'll grab a couple of goals tomorrow as well. But not only that, look, Lucas Moura, if he does play, Jack, he's prone to skinning boys left, right, and centre. He could probably get a bit of joy out there and create a lot of space. But look, it all depends how quickly we can get the ball to them, though, Jack, to be honest with you. Leeds can definitely be exploited tomorrow, especially if we can turn the ball over in the middle of the park.
Yep. That's how you hurt them. Exactly, Dave. And kind of what Adam is saying here, I totally agree. Oh, so that's why leads are so easy to open up. They actually weirdly are. Like, you can create, we're struggling with putting shots on target. We're struggling with creating chances. With Leeds, we shouldn't struggle. We really shouldn't, because they basically expose themselves. Their own system exposes itself. At the same time, it also allows our system to be exposed, because, we'll play a hospital pass into a player and there will be 4, 5, 6 Leeds players that will all be on it. And then they'll have a full force attack going right at us. So it kind of goes both ways, Adam. It really goes both ways. At the same time, though, we do have very intelligent players on that pitch. Apart from Winky, we have very intelligent players on that pitch. So they will be able to lose their marker. Especially, I feel like someone like Reguilon could have a really good match. If he's able to kind of hug the touchline, be able to kind of basically bomb forward, he could, really hurt them. Harry Kane, I feel like with his movement, can really hurt them. Sonny can really hurt them. Lucas can really hurt them, because as well, if you're man marking Lucas, that guy always is guaranteed to skin one player. So if he skins that marker, that means that someone else will have to abandon their marker, which then, if Lucas can find that final ball, if he can find that final pass, he could have a fantastic match. But it is kind of, to a degree, it helps us, I think, coming up against Leeds, but I'm not going to say it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but big yourself up, Adam. We are going to go into my predicted lineup, basically the formation as well of how I see us lining up for this one. It is going to be a 3-4-3 again. I wanted it to be a 3-5-2 this time, guys, but I just don't see it happening. Maybe that's because Skippy is gone. Maybe also because of the comments regarding Tanguy and Ndombele. So it is going to be a 3-4-3. Davinson Sanchez is going to be playing the right-sided center back. I would love for it to be Tanganga, but I think it's going to be Sanchez. Eric Dyer be playing in the center of the back three. I don't have much confidence about that, especially given the pace of Daniel James and Rodrigo. Dyer does struggle with pace, but maybe having someone like Sanchez could help him. Ben Davies struggles with pace. That will be tough as well coming up against Raphinha. But now getting a bit better, maybe going forward. We do have Reguilon and Emerson on the wings, Højbjerg and Winky together. With Harry Winky, I feel like he can be able to cut inside. My ideal scenario is that if he's playing on the left, he likes to kind of cut inside into the middle of the pitch and look kind of towards his right and see what's out there on the right. If he's able to do that without being too traumatized by the press, hopefully, that could mean that we could open up some space for the likes of Harry Kane, Sonny, and Lucas. But I am a bit worried about that, because I feel like he will be targeted. Højbjerg, and this is another thing as well. Which one will be the one going forward? Is it going to be Winky or is it going to be Højbjerg? It probably is going to be Højbjerg, which I think just really also troubles me as well, because it should be Harry Winky, and it's not going to be Harry Winky because he's so limited in his ability. And it just kind of torturing Højbjerg by making him the one that has to go forward, if you ask me. It really does. But then I have Lucas, Harry Kane, and Sonny. David, what do you make of this predicted lineup? And maybe in particular what I just said about, kind of Winks, being the one that probably will be sitting back when Højbjerg is going to be the one, kind of probably having to go forward. That's the thing that kind of, honestly, David, if you ask me, it kind of pisses me off, because why should Højbjerg be the one going forward when it probably should be Winks?
No, it should be Winky going forward. Look, I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be starting Winks tomorrow, Jack. I would be starting Ndombele. Look, if anyone's going to be able to play that killer pass in behind for Son, Kane, or Lucas, it's Ndombele. I'd be very surprised if Winks plays one of them balls in behind for any of them. I really would. Look, with Winks, for me, Jack, he's just too slow. We've seen it time and time again. He likes to let everybody get back in front of him so then he can scan the pitch and then play. He likes the game, everything to be in front of him. Look, he's just too slow. For me, I wouldn't be putting Ndombele in there. I think, look, Lo Celso, he's picked up a bit of a knock from international duty. I think he's very doubtful tomorrow. He might make the bench, but he definitely won't start. But for me, look, I'll be honest with you. I think he's just asking. I think it's asking for trouble playing Harry Winks in there. If you want my true feelings on it, I think he's asking for trouble. I think we could be overrun in midfield, and I think it could happen early. Look, Leeds will put the pressure on us from the start. Marcelo Bielsa is not stupid. He's going to tell them, look, this Tottenham team's still nervy, Go at them from the start. Their best centre-back is out. They're playing Harry Winks in midfield. I mean, if Pacos de Ferreira and teams like that are targeting Harry Winks, I'm sure Bielsa's going to put 2 or 3 swarming on top of him every time he receives that ball to try and pick his pocket. Now, if he's on the ball and Højbjerg is instructed to go forward, Jack, and then we allow Højbjerg to go forward, what happens when Winks gets his pocket picked? There's no cover there and straight on a back three. It's asking for danger if he plays tomorrow. I really do think it is. Look, I don't want to put the lad down before he's even given the chance in a Conte system and everything else. And look, I do. Look, I suppose every player is going to have a chance. But I'll be honest with you. Look, how many times do we have to keep being slapped in the face with the same fish, Jack, before you say it's rotten? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, look, I just think it's asking for disaster. For me, Ndombele, I think, should be the player that starts. But I think it might be the other way around. I think you might start Winks in at halftime if it's not working. Bring on Ndombele.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate reality, everybody. We do have to go with what we actually do predict could be happening. I'd love to not have Winky in the lineup. I'd love to not have Ben Davies in the lineup, but it's just what we have to work with because it's what we do predict. We have to be realistic to maybe what the comments, Conte has come with and also what he's done so far. Dark Sun G, though, saying, I hope for Sanchez, Dyer, Tanganga as a back three. I would actually like that. Whole problem, though, I would maybe argue with that, Dark Sun G, is that left-sided center back position or even the right-sided center back position is there needs to be ball carriers. And is Tanganga a ball carrier? Maybe. Is Eric Dyer a ball carrier? Not really. Is Sanchez a ball carrier? Not really. And so that's what I maybe do. Then again, Ben Davies isn't a ball carrier either. So it's just, this is the problem is our back three is very just poor at being able to carry the ball up the pitch, being able to control matches back there, being able to find decisive passes that aren't hospital passes into the forward line, and that's what makes it a big problem. But at least defensively, I would say that's a much stronger one. That is a much stronger one defensively, and especially I would much rather actually have Tanganga or Sanchez going against Raphinha one-on-one than I would Ben Davies. So I feel like that is kind of a back three that I would probably prefer at the end of the night, Dark Sun G, but big yourself up. Faz Radfar saying, can you come up with a lineup without Winky Davies? I can't, unfortunately, Faz. I would love to go with my dream lineup, and we will be doing a stream on that at some point where we will be doing what our dream, lineup under Conte will look like. But that's the one that I just showed you, Faz, unfortunately, is not what it's going to be. The one I just showed you is what I predicted to be. What one without Winks or Davies is just, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be the case. So I do have to work with what I have. But big up, Faz, as always. Big yourself up. The key player for Spurs, and it has been this way for some time, probably will continue to be this way until maybe some other players do probably show up for us. It is going to be Sonny once again, and it is Sonny with the most shot-creating actions, which is basically, again, a fancy way of saying chances created with 31. The most key passes, which, again, just to remind you, is basically a pass that leads to a pass that leads to a goal or pass that leads to, a very big chance created. Second most passes completed into the penalty area with 12. Second most players dribble pass with 16, which is very impressive, I will say. Most progressive passes received with 74. He has some of the most progressive passes in the entire Premier League I've received, which is basically a pass of 10 yards or more. He has the most carries into the penalty area, which is one of my favorite stats, if you ask me, with 9. And then the second most carries into the final third with 22, and the most touches in the attacking penalty area with 43. Now, that is a bit interesting that he does have the most attacking touches in the attacking penalty area, but I will remind you, Harry Kane is catching up to him now. Now that he's getting back into the force of things with 41. I believe Harry Kane has 41, Sonny has 43. And then the last stat is also going to be the most shots and most shots on target, with 24 shots and 10 on target. Not a lot to work with there. Really not a lot. We need to improve these stats. They really do need to be all improved. It's not anything to say about Sonny. Really isn't. It's just the whole team in general. We just need, it just shows how much more we need to create, because if you even compare this to Raphinha or even Stuart Dallas, for Christ's sake, like these guys are beating Sonny in some of these markers, which just says a lot about this team. You know, maybe how dead we were going forward. It really does. Our unsung hero is going to be Lucas. Any of the Morasexuals, you know, please stand up. They will with Lucas Moura. He has the most players dribble pass with 25, which basically means he does skin players for a living. The most carries into the final third with 23, the most progressive carries with 63, which is a carry of 10 yards or more. The most aerials won, which is one of my favorite stats about Lucas. He continues to lead the markers in terms of aerials won. The guy is like 5'9", 5'10", or even that's being generous to him probably. And he still is able to leap like he's honestly in the NBA, which is just ridiculous. Second most shot creating actions with 22, and second most passes completed under pressure. You're one of your favorite stats, Kuva, with 75. And that's actually more than Stuart Dallas, who has the most passes completed under pressure in the entire Leeds United lineup. So there you are, actually. Very, very impressive from Lucas. He knows how to be able to complete a pass when somebody's pulling on his kit, when somebody's pulling on his shorts. Third most progressive passes with 39, and the second most key passes with 11. So there you are, everybody. That is basically the Lucas Moura fan club. All the stats you need to know, all the stats that you can basically recite in your Lucas Moura sexual meetings, to be able to pat yourselves for, having, all the Lucas Moura love. I love Lucas Moura. I really do. I'm probably not the biggest Morasexual as the others, but I feel like it's plenty okay to be a Morasexual because he is an absolute beast, especially when it comes to aerial win rate, though. All you Morasexuals out there, definitely, shove that down everybody's throat, because I will say the fact that he has the most aerials won in this team is just insane. It's just insane. It's actually mind-boggling, if you ask me, because he has more aerials won than most of our center backs. Wow. It's just kind of insane. Like, I don't even know what to make of that. He also, I believe as well, for any person that's played over 7 or 8 matches, I believe, in the Premier League, apart from Højbjerg, he is also the second highest aerial win percentage. So the guy is literally, if you were to pick anybody to win a header in our team, you would actually pick Lucas Moura if you were to go by the stats. So it is kind of insane. Like, Lucas Moura, everybody. That's all I can say. Lucas Moura, but that is our unsung hero. But everybody, if you do like Lucas Moura, there you are. Definitely will enjoy that. But we will break down now, how do Spurs attack? And Spurs attack, I will say, in definitely a different way than they ever have before. And this is going to be the first kind of little image here. I feel like since Leeds play a very, very high line, that we won't probably be dominating them in any sort of way. Maybe come to the ball. There will be moments where I feel like Leeds will have lots of spells of possession. This is not a game that I think will be kind of like two kind of, staunch defenses, kind of, not willing to concede much. This will be a very end-to-end game. I think you're kind of crazy if you were to think that this is going to be some sort of like logical, like sort of, like tempo setting kind of game. This will be a back and forth kind of match. Even if we win 3-0, 4-0, it will still be a back and forth kind of match. Leeds do play a very high line, which means we can expose them in behind. Harry Kane needs to move freely. This is a match that is definitely designed for Harry Kane, because if they do that man marking system, especially some of the midfielders or center backs, Harry Kane with his movement will take one of them out of position, and will probably, especially if he turns one of them, can find either Lucas or Sonny in behind. This will be a great match for also Sonny and Lucas, especially with Harry Kane moving so freely. This could be one where they could have a field day. In Lucas's case, anybody that's man marking Lucas, he will spin you, he will turn you, he will skin you. When it comes to Sonny, if you're basically asking yourself to try to beat Sonny in a foot race, one going in behind, I mean, good luck to you. So it will be a field day for both of those guys. It is going to be a very tough match for Pierre as well as Harry Winks. It's going to be a tough match for Pierre because I think he's going to be the one to expect to go forward. And that it is going to be a tough match for Harry Winky, just because he's going to be the one sitting back. And even though I don't think that should be the case, I think that's kind of insane that he would be the one sitting back, because he's nowhere near as good as defensively as Højbjerg is. So that means he will probably get, run at and also exposed when we do lose the ball. And we inevitably will lose the ball in a bad position. At the end of the day, everybody, is just football. So we will lose the ball in a bad position. Davies can't get caught out. I mean, because you can just look at it right there. Reguilón will start flying forward at moments, and that does mean that Raphinha will have one-on-one moments, as we said before, with Ben Davies, which will terrify me. Reggie does need to challenge Stuart Dallas, though, because what we can't have happening is Stuart Dallas and Raphinha combining together. The ideal scenario is basically Stuart Dallas has a lot to deal with Sonny and Reggie going at him. We want Stuart Dallas to be occupied. We want him to have to think about those two players, and then we'll just have to concede the fact that Raphinha will have his moments with Ben Davies. But I don't want to see what I don't want to see happening is Stuart Dallas and Raphinha being able to combine together. I don't want to see that happening. True Sets Free saying, agree with you on Raphinha, Jack. Spot on, you're a legend. Sorry, Truth. Maybe I don't really get the lipstick on a pig kind of comment, but maybe in reference to Raphinha, I didn't get it. But I think Raphinha is ridiculous. I think he's ridiculous. I think anybody that you don't even need to look at the stats. You just look at his highlight reels. I mean, the guy is just what he goes for in matches. It's just insane. I think he's honestly one of the best skillers in world football. I think he's actually better skiller than even Neymar is, because Neymar at the end of the day is doing it in Liga, against, players that don't deserve, that sort of treatment. And he's also doing it on a PSG team where Raphinha is doing it on like a lower level Premier League side and is doing it against some of the best defenders in the world and being able to absolutely embarrass them. So big yourself up, though. True Sets Free. I could not agree more, and also appreciate the comment. But as well as True Sets Free saying to the big Shamu, the name of the top whales at SeaWorld. Definitely will say Shamu is an absolute legend, and hopefully, he appreciates the whale comment. Hopefully he appreciates the whale comment, but I will say, SeaWorld is definitely not in the same reputation it used to be when I was growing up, though. True Sets Free, definitely not the same reputation, but big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up. We will now move on, though, to maybe a bit of some animations about how Spurs will attack, unless, David, you feel like you have anything to say maybe on some of these, like Davies can't get caught out. Maybe we have to stress that again. Maybe Reggie needs to challenge Dallas. I mean, it is going to be a tough match for Winks and Pierre. Any of those kind of bullet points that maybe?
No, look, can't stress enough. There's going to have to be protection for Davies, especially with Raphinha down that side. Look, long balls. You're looking at Davies, Dyer, and Sanchez. They all have to stay switched on. Leeds going to be very, very fast going forward. Winks in midfield, I'm not a big fan of. I think we all can see what's coming if that is the case. Hopefully he proves us wrong. But look, Jack, with Reguilón, I think he has the most
goal-creating actions, most chances created.
Crosses. He has the most effective crosses in the Premier League, Jack. Wow. So he does with Reguilón. A lot of people, slate him for his defensive ability, this, that, and the other. But he does have the most successful crosses in the Premier League. So he does. He's very important for us going forward. And Jack, I do think if we score tomorrow, I do think it will come from down that side. Look, Emerson and Reguilón, they have a massive part to play in this game tomorrow. Huge part to play. The whole idea would be to keep Leeds fullbacks back, pin them back, and in that way, stop them getting the overloads on Dyer or on Davies, stop them from getting the overloads, pin them back, give them something to think about, and then hopefully that'll give Son and Lucas Moura a bit of space to play in, which will then hopefully free Harry Kane just to keep making runs in behind.
Yeah, that's well actually analyzed, David. By the way, everybody, David hit you with a bit of the stats there in Reggie. He does have the most crosses completed into the penalty area, more than any other Premier League fullback, as well as anybody, and obviously Spurs. So he has actually been very, very good going forward this season. I know he had a bad game against Everton, but then if you were to kind of take that out of your mind, he actually has been very, very good going forward this season, as he was decently last season. And also, before, I think Emerson caught up to him and other players, the guy also had the most tackles and interceptions combined in our whole squad as well for some time as well. So Reguilón is having a better season than I feel like he did last season to begin with. But he did have a very poor match against Everton. He had a very poor match against Everton. So that must also be taken into consideration. Hopefully he can improve on that. You certainly should be able to. But we are going to go into a bit of the goal animations for Spurs now. And so Kuva, this is the time to catch up with that 21 goal scoreline that we had earlier. This is the opportunity here. This is going to be Sonny stretching in behind. This is basically going to be, like I said, Sonny should be having a field day tomorrow, as well as Lucas should be having a field day. Sonny should be having a field day. And the reason why I think Sonny should be having a field day is because of this high press that we're looking at from Leeds United. This high press means that there will be moments where if Sonny makes the right move in behind, he will have to basically be in a foot race with whatever defender is man marking him. Whatever defender is man marking him will have to, back themselves to be able to run after the likes of Sonny, which I don't really back them to do. I think Sonny is, actually one of the fastest players in the Premier League. So if they are doing kind of a high defensive line, it's just tailor made for Sonny, really. When you think about it, any sort of high defensive line is just tailor made for him. And, maybe when you play a low block, kind of, very kind of a rock solid kind of back four kind of defense, that's sitting back very deep. That isn't exactly, how to get the best out of Sonny. But if you are playing a very high defensive line, that really does suit Sonny. So hopefully Sonny, if they are to press high in a situation like this, we can find someone like Lucas or Priamo Højbjerg in a situation where basically we just play Sonny in behind with a nice through ball in between the channels or in between the lanes, and then we can just have him in behind. But we are going to move on to the next one. But we have Koguma here with a super chat here saying, hope to see Reggie and Royale very speedy tomorrow. Lots of crosses to our Sonny and Kane. I'd love to see. This is actually a quick thing before I break down the other comment here, Koguma. I wanted to do Emerson again as the unsung hero. I did it last time. I don't like to do two unsung heroes twice. I have kept the same key player multiple times, this season, which has been Sonny because he has been our key player. But it is going to be for this time, Lucas Moura. I wanted it to be Emerson, but I feel like Emerson, I hope he has a good match tomorrow, especially going forward. I hope he has a good match. I want him to kind of, have a moment where he's able to get an assist or, maybe even score a goal like back post, like we said before, when we broke down the Conte tactics video last Thursday. We did a big Conte tactics video on how maybe back post kind of goals could be maybe the key for Emerson this season. But I really hope he gets an assist or pops up with some sort of dribble, to maybe help, his team out. I really do. But in also the case of, Reggie, I think Reggie really needs to improve on his Everton performance. That Everton performance was absolutely shocking. It really was shocking. And I really hope he can improve on. I really hope he can improve on it. And then as well, hopefully they can be the absolute speedsters, the absolute speed merchants down the wing as well. But lots of crosses from them is what I want to see. Even more wonderful if they're scorers as well. Maybe I got a bit ahead of myself, Koguma. You already are ahead of me. So big yourself up. I'd love to see them be the big scorers tomorrow, like you said. And like I said, the way it might happen is a bit of a back post cross. Like we saw, Reggie, he blew a back post kind of cross from Harry Kane. And also we saw Emerson, on the end of one as well. So hopefully, they can pop up with a goal that way. And then the Truth Sets Free says, here's another mass hole term. If they pass another hospital ball, they will have to call the meat wagon. Or maybe he wants me to do it in Massachusetts. If they pass another hospital ball, they'll have to. I can't even do it today. Maybe I've lost my voice already. They'll have to do a meat wagon. I'll try to think about it later how to do my best Massachusetts accent. You gave me a better opportunity when you mentioned ka earlier. Truth Sets Free. Anytime you're trying to get up to ka. But big yourself up. Maybe this is a bit of a Massachusetts reference. So big yourself up, though. True Sets Free. And I hope there are no hospital passes from the likes of Winks. Really hope there are no hospital passes from the likes of Winks. But I feel like there will be moments. MS here. Sorry. MS saying Jack's famous analysis. Take a bow, Jack. Loving these. Leeds will be open and attacking, leaving us enough space to mount attacks behind their defense. This is a big thing, MS. I really appreciate the support. Really appreciate the love as well, MS. But where I'm kind of coming from is this could be a 3-0. This could be a 4-0. This could be a 3-1. If we take advantage of how Leeds basically play their type of football. They don't really cater to anybody. They play the same type of football versus everybody. And they kind of expect, maybe it could crazily, the same result. But this does mean that if we take our moments where we have the right movement, we use the right sort of pace, from Sonny and Lucas, we could, be 2-3-0 up, quite quickly. But it also means, though, is that they can maybe win the ball off of us in bad scenarios and really dangerous situations, and they will use their pace and their kind of speed and behind to hurt us as well. So it really just goes both ways. I think what maybe the one thing you could say, MS, is this is going to be maybe one of the most entertaining matches of the year that we played so far. I really do think it's going to be one of the most entertaining ones. It's not going to be a boring game. I'd be surprised if it was. I just don't think Leeds really guarantee boring games. They're just always exciting. So I would say this is going to be an interesting one. And I hopefully we do maybe find that space in behind. I feel like, that's what they're going to do. They play a very high line Leads when they like to play a high line. If we have them, pinned back in their own half, that'd be nice. But they do kind of play very brave football, which does mean that we will probably find space in behind. Llorente, as well as Liam Cooper, have already made lots of mistakes this season, and they've got away with a lot this season in terms of, defensive errors. So I feel like, with maybe Harry Kane, Sonny, Lucas, guys that will punish them, they will have a tough match tomorrow. So hopefully we'll be able to mount lots of attacks behind their defense, like you said, but also really appreciate the support, really appreciate the love as well, MS. Big up.
Nah, big up, MS. Look, as well, I just want to say quickly, central areas from shots. A lot of players, that I've seen play Leeds, a lot of their shots is they skin the man centrally and they get their shots off. So Harry Kane could well explode tomorrow, because he will be left a lot of room if he stays central to be able to get his shots off.
It also helps him to drop deep, though, Dave. Like, if, we've kind of, people have complained about Harry Kane dropping deep. If he is being man-marked, him dropping deep just means that someone else can take advantage of the space that he leaves in behind him.
Yeah.
When you think about it. And then also as well, like Harry Kane, if he's being marked by just one player, he could spin the guy and then be able to find a ball in behind as well. So it actually does suit Harry Kane. If Harry Kane just wanders around the pitch, it's actually kind of a situation where if you just wander around the pitch, you're probably dragging a Leeds United player out of position with you. So I think it actually does suit Harry Kane, if you ask me. Yeah. I think it really does suit him.
No, it will suit him tomorrow. 100% it will. He'll be left space anyway. And Spurs squad with a donation as well. Big up Spurs squad. Really appreciate that, my man. Legend, really appreciate it.
Really appreciate you, brother. And also thank you for all the support. And also great comment, Hotspur. We do attack very narrow, which is actually, again, can suit us in this kind of game. Really can suit us, but big yourself up, Spurs squad. Really appreciate you as well for the donation, my man. And we will move on now to our next sort of animation here. We did have Sonny and Kuva. If you're still watching, we did just probably score about 30 goals right there. So we're already probably 17 up on them. And, at this rate, but Harry Kane is going to find Sonny. I have two different animations, maybe just to please David a little bit on this one. But I have two different animations of Harry Kane doing exactly what we were just talking about, maybe roaming around the pitch and then being able to turn his man and find Sonny in behind. This one is going to be interesting, and because I do actually have it where, again, this is Leeds basically over pressing. This is Leeds basically giving too much of a high press where they do expose themselves. Where because if a team high presses you, if you find the right pass, you will hurt them. And what will happen here is basically Ben Davies, this pass that he makes, maybe for Ben Davies, it's not realistic, but anybody in that left-sided center back position, this pass is realistic because if Harry Kane drops deep and Calvin Phillips abandons Harry Kane, he will then be able to find tons of space, just turn and be able to find somebody in behind. And it will also expose them because this is actually more or less how they press. They do have 4 players in that front line that basically just press the whole back 4, especially if they do that front 4, which is Raphinha, Rodrigo, Daniel James, Jack Harrison, and then and there you are, everybody. And so that's, those are 4 players that will track back, but also will want to be more kind of forward thinking. So they'll try to press the ball high in the attacking third, but that does then expose the midfield. It basically means you can bypass the midfield really easily. It's easier said than done, of course, but you can bypass that midfield super easily because they will basically abandon, their whole midfield. Forshaw, I don't really rate too much. Calvin Phillips, I know David actually doesn't, rate too highly as well. But I feel like he is decent defensively, maybe not the best going forward, but decent defensively. And so you can definitely hurt him, especially sometimes Calvin Phillips is the only one sitting back there, holding the whole defense as well, or the whole midfield. So, when you have maybe Harry Kane dropping into that position, you basically can hurt him. And that's what basically this pass is. And he basically just finds Sonny, in behind, playing very narrow, as someone said before. Sonny rounds the keeper. And we are going to go to the next one before maybe I get a bit of thoughts on maybe David in this whole scenario of Harry Kane finding Sonny this match. I know we've been kind of missing that this season of Harry Kane finding Sonny. This is where I feel like this match could be a huge opportunity for Harry Kane to find Sonny. This one is actually a bit of kind of where Harry Kane and Sonny, they almost kind of do a decoy run for each other, where they actually, Sonny looks like he's going to show for the ball nice and short for Reggie, but in fact, Sonny almost kind of to a degree actually is the one running in behind, and then Harry Kane is the one that's showing in short for the ball to be able to receive it and then play Sonny. But Dave, I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel like this could be a huge match maybe for us to kind of see that partnership that Sonny and Harry Kane developed last last season?
No, look, I think it's, I'll be honest with you, it better happen tomorrow. I want to see the partnership back because we've a nice run of games after this as well, Jack. If we can get that form, that partnership back together, it's going to breed confidence. It's going to breed confidence into the fan base, into the rest of the squad, and most importantly, into themselves going forward. Look, we could be set for a nice few weeks here where we just open up on teams. Look, we lack goals at the minute. I mean, we've two more than Norwich, and they're rooted to the bottom of the table. I mean, it's not saying much, but we are going to explode. And the Kane and Sonny partnership, I believe, will explode tomorrow with the amount of space that Leeds will give us as long, and this is a big as long as we hold on to the ball tomorrow and we keep the ball. If we don't, we're asking for trouble. But if we can keep the ball and dominate the possession, we will destroy these.
Well said, Dave. Actually, well analyzed as well. I feel like, we better see that combination like we did last season against Leeds. And also someone brilliantly in the comments said some of these passes coming from Ben Davies, they said Toby would make that pass. I completely agree. He really would have made this pass. But last one here, as David gave us a bit on the stats before, Reggie cross into the box. The guy with the most crosses completed, the most passes completed into the penalty area, more than almost any other player in the Premier League, especially when it comes to fullbacks as well, and also the Spurs lineup. This is basically just going to be Reguilon bombing down the wing. We're kind of getting high pressed here again. It's Sanchez in this situation, actually finding a nice ping pass over to Reggie, which we have seen before. We do try to find Reggie for that ping pass. Harry Kane makes a run across the 6, and David loves to see that as well, and then is able to tap it home past Meslier. With this one, again, this is Højbjerg dropping deep, finds Sanchez, and then basically we ping it across to Reguilon. Reguilon then basically takes it past Stuart Dallas, just takes him for pace, and then is able to find Harry Kane running across the 6 for, a beautiful probably ball on the floor as well. I will say with Reguilon, he doesn't need to pass it in the air. He doesn't just kind of blindly loof it into the air. He actually finds his man, which is probably why that stat is so key that David brought up earlier, is because he plays it on the floor. He plays it, kind of in the right sort of height, the right sort of speed and everything. He doesn't really miss his man in the box very often. So that's probably why, he even has, I believe, the most assists as well as their whole team as well. So Reguilon, at least going forward this season, has been brilliant. And this is basically one last time for you, everybody. It's basically just Sanchez finding a bit of room. Sanchez then looks for Reguilon to ping a ball across. Stuart Dallas, is not able to catch up with him for pace. Harry Kane finds a bit of space, loses his marker, is able to tap one home. But there you are, everybody. Paul Markey saying, please explain holding possession with Winks in midfield. Yeah, I don't know if I can explain it, Paul. I really don't know if I can explain it. The only thing is hopefully Winks is on the ball. Hopefully he realizes he can't have 2, 3, 4 touches. He also needs to realize that he can't play hospital passes. He can't just unload it to someone else and just expect them to do well with it. He can't just, expect that they'll have time on the ball. No one will have time on the ball. That's the case with Leeds United, especially in the first 20 minutes. No one will have time on the ball. It's basically 1 touch, 2 touches, and you have to get rid of it because there will be someone closing down whoever you want to pass it to. There will be someone closing you down. There will be someone trying to win the ball off you high up the pitch. And that does mean Harry Winks will struggle in that regard. But I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt that maybe he'll be looking up, he'll be knowing what to do with it before he receives it. And the only thing I say is that with Harry Winks, it's not even like I expect him to lose the ball in a bad scenario. I just expect him to give it to a player that doesn't need the ball. He'll just unload it to someone else that is already marked, someone that's already, who's in a worse position than he is, and he'll just expect them to do something with it. And that's the thing with Harry Winks often. That's why we kind of do call him sideways pass, is because he'll just give it to someone else so he won't lose it. But then that person will then be in charge of basically making the very key pass, the very, the nice pass to open up the defense, when that should be Harry Winks' job. Harry Winks just likes to unload it to someone else to do it. And so that's why I'm very worried about Paul. I have to be honest with you. I'm very worried about it.
Nah, big up, Paul. Look, all I was saying basically is look, we do need to try and hold possession. Look, I don't know whether Winks is starting tomorrow or not. All indications is, and from what I've heard, he probably is starting tomorrow. But look, at the end of the day, there's other players in there. Hopefully they can keep a hold of the ball tomorrow. Paul Markey, big yourself up. True Setcher Free says Nuno to United papers will be signed by Crayon. Yeah, Nuno has been sacked, or not Nuno, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been sacked by United as we speak. So they are looking for a new manager. And True Setcher Free says Benedict effing Hampus, big up Winky in the chat. Big yourself
No,
up, true set you
I didn't
free.
know
And
that
he
it was
also
Benedict
says,
Campus changing to Winky. Maybe he changed himself to Winky. There you are. But also one of the best names in the building as well, Benedict Campus, one of the best
yeah,
names in the building. But there you are. If he's saying, please don't be too mean to me. You guys are being really mean to me tonight. But Winky, hate to say it, just better be on your game tomorrow. You better be on your game tomorrow. You really better be.
no, you better be. And true set you free also says, big up Benedict Campus. Great comments. He does, to be fair. Big yourself up, the truth set you free. I'm glad you're enjoying the show, my man. What an absolute legend, bigging everybody up.
Really appreciate it, True Sets Free. But we are going to wind down everybody to basically, the other elements of this game, which is basically, players to target. I will go down one by one. Liam Cooper, we need to target him because he has the most defensive errors in the entire lead squad this season. I feel like he's one of their better center backs, but at the same time, he's made a lot of errors, and that's just because the way Marcelo Bielsa plays makes defenders prone to errors. You have to make the right decision. You have to be good at knowing who's making a run on behind you. He's just basically had moments where he's set up players for goals. I think he even did it in the Leicester City match. I think he set up Harvey Barnes for a goal. He's done it in other matches before, so he's already had 2 defensive errors this season, which is actually quite atrocious, if you ask me. But that's also how Leeds United play. It's how Leeds United play. So we should go after Liam Cooper. I expect Harry Kane to lose him. I expect Harry Kane to give him nightmares. Stuart Dallas, I feel like we need to expose because Stuart Dallas is, with Reggie and Sonny going down his side, Stuart Dallas likes to get forward. Stuart Dallas is one of the guys they rely on to be able to get forward. That does mean then that he is basically coming up against our most lethal side of our attack, which is our left-hand side, and he'll be on Leeds' right-hand side, which does mean he'll be coming up against our most creative players, our best players. And I feel like that means then Stuart Dallas is not going to be able to get as far forward, going forward. So that means he'll have to be on his defensive game, which isn't his best attribute. So I feel like Stuart Dallas could certainly be exposed. And then Forshaw can be exposed because he's basically the only other midfielder alongside Calvin Phillips in the Leeds United midfield. So, I don't really rate him too much. I feel like he has a lot of defensive work that he needs to do. He just will need to be on his game. And so we can probably bypass him in the midfield and then expose Phillips, a lot. We just need to bypass Forshaw, just take him out of the game, just make it so that he doesn't want to be there. And we could definitely expose him. We definitely could expose him. Moving on to our key battles, but we do have Benedict fucking Hampus is the best name ever. Really certainly is. Really certainly is.
Yeah.
Paul Markey says, no way could Winks handle pace of Leeds midfield. No, Paul,
Yes.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I really am not going to sugarcoat it. There is no way he can handle the pace of Leeds' midfield, which is why we just can't lose it in bad positions, which basically we've been stressing the whole video, Paul. We just can't lose it in bad positions where Højbjerg isn't there to protect Winks. Højbjerg isn't there to, be able to sit in the midfield with him. If we find it where basically it is Winks, being in charge of trying to, prevent any sort of dangers or, anything like that when Leeds do come at us, it's just a recipe for disaster. So I do agree with you. He cannot handle the pace of their midfield or their attack. And it will just mean that he cannot play any sort of passes that will make it very likely that we will lose it. He needs to be playing the right passes, no hospital passes from Winks. And that's all I can hope for, Paul.
Yeah, same here, Paul. Same here. Look, at the end of the day, look, we all know Winks in midfield. There's no point. He's not going to get physical in there. He'll be overrun. And look, he won't be able to handle pace. We know what we're going to see. You're going to look in. It's going to look like he's on the set of Jurassic Park, and he's going to be pointing out Højbjerg to come over and make a tackle, one that he should be getting to. Look, it's the danger we play when we have backup players like this in the squad, my man.
Yeah, he's and the other thing as well, Paul, and maybe I probably heard this earlier from me. The reason why I feel like with Harry Winks, like, the reason he's so frustrating is he should be the one that should be getting forward, not Højbjerg. But with Harry Winks, he expects to be, this facilitator, this regista in the midfield when we all know he isn't. And that means that Højbjerg is then relegated to have to go forward when it should be Højbjerg playing that position. It should be Højbjerg playing that destroyer. But it is going to be Harry Winks is going to be the one that's going to be sitting back, picking up the ball from the defenders and, asking for it and, basically not wanting to venture forward whatsoever, which does just really concern me. And that just makes it so that Højbjerg is going to have to be the one to carry the ball forward. Harry Winks doesn't like carrying the ball as well.
No.
He doesn't like carrying it forward. So it's a recipe for disaster. Spurs Squad with another donation, and really just want to big yourself up, Spurs Squad. Hopefully you're enjoying the show, and I really appreciate you as well. Just, giving David and I all the support that, really does help a lot, really does help this channel grow. And also, especially when it comes to this show, which does, put a little bit of work in, I would definitely say it really does go a long way. But big yourself up, and hopefully you're enjoying it. And if you are, thank you very much, my man. But we are going to move into the key battles, everybody. The key battles. The first one is going to be, like I stressed earlier, one of our players to target. It is going to be Liam Cooper versus Harry Kane. Harry Kane is going to be moving freely throughout the pitch. And so that means that he will be dragging a center back, a midfielder with him. Lots of times I feel like it will be Cooper that he will be dragging. And so this is going to be a huge key battle. Cooper is going to have to be on it. He can't, press Harry Kane too much because Harry Kane could turn him and find someone in behind. And so that will mean that, this could be a very dangerous game for Leeds United to play with Harry Kane's movement. So this is our first key battle, everybody. Our next key battle is going to be Reggie and Ben Davies against Raphinha. Another one that we have stressed. As you can tell, it's a bit of a summary kind of point of this whole show. This one's going to be, someone's going to need to help out Ben Davies. But at the same time, we need Reguilón to be able to get forward because Reguilón is one of our creative outlets. And also, we probably expect Harry Winks to be on Ben Davies' side of the midfield as well. So
don't say that, lad. Don't say that.
Maybe this is, I don't know, Dave. It's not an I told you so. It's not an I told you so show. But if anybody were to see what happened tomorrow, if we see Raphinha come up with something, you can at least know that, okay, where did I see that? Where did I see that before? Oh, yeah, that was on Stats with Jack last night. So, by the way, everybody, I'm going to say it again. And I am the messenger, can't shoot the messenger here. But it might be Reggie, who's someone who does get forward a lot and can get exposed by getting too far forward. And then Raphinha going up against Ben Davies and Harry Winks on the same side. So, take that as you will. Basically nightmarish. I probably won't be sleeping tonight, but it's what might be happening. Like David said, practically a suicide. But this is a huge key battle. I have to highlight the key battles that are real key battles. This is certainly the biggest one. This is really the biggest one. The next one is going to be Rodrigo against Eric Dyer. The reason I chose this one is because Daniel James and Rodrigo almost kind of flip-flop as false nines sometimes, and they're both very, very pacey going forward. Eric Dyer struggles with pace, especially in that middle of the park, even in that kind of libero role. He really struggles with it. Like any person that's making runs beyond him, he kind of thinks he can just leave it to someone else, or he thinks that the midfielder isn't capable of playing that pass and behind to them. It's just, I am worried about that as well. I think Eric Dyer does struggle coming up against anybody with pace. So that could be a bit of a concern as well. So that is the other key battle. But I believe that is the end of the show, everybody. So that is the end of Stats with Jack. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. Again, I hate to say it, the one big concern here for tonight is going to be Raphinha coming up against Ben Davies. If you see that happen tomorrow and you're just, punching the TV or something, you can at least know, the person that told you about it was on this show and you might as well just punch him instead. So, but big up everybody that has enjoyed this show. Big up everybody for tuning in as well. Been absolute vibes going through the stats with everybody. Hopefully you got your fix into the stats of the tactics as well. And thank you very much, everybody, for joining.
Now, look, I have to say, first of all, Spurs Squad, big up David and Jack Work Nights. The THSC family, thank you for the donations, my man. I really do appreciate it. Paul Markey says Winks' limit is Waterboy. Yeah, definitely. Look, he should be put Ndombele out there and have Winks filling up the water bottles and just running on with two Ndombele every break to play. That's what I will be doing, Paul Markey, my man. But big yourself up, my man. Everybody, I hope you absolutely love Stats with Jacks. I think you did, absolutely unbelievable. I have to say credit to you, Jack. Honestly, I was expecting to come out of here with a hard on, Jack, but I think I'm going to bed with nightmares now of Raphinha running at Ben Davies. But look, I have to say it's been absolutely brilliant, Jack. You do put so much work into this every single week, and it's absolutely brilliant. There's so many people now that are going to be down in the pub tomorrow watching a game with the kid or someone else, and are going to be reaming off these stats. It's like, oh, did you know Raphinha has he's the most dangerous player, he's the top goal scorer, he's this, he's that, and they're just going to be like the smartest guy in the room. So Jack, thank you very much. It's absolutely a brilliant show. I've really enjoyed it as well. I absolutely love it. But look, make sure you do tune back in here at 12 midday tomorrow, 12 noon, for the build up to the game tomorrow. It's going to be an absolute cracker. Jacko Antonesh, where can people find you actually?
They can find me over at Flat Cap Euro Talk, everybody. It is our second channel. I'm just going to quickly look it up on the tube quickly, but everybody can find me over on Flat Cap Euro Talk. It is basically our second channel for anything transfers related. So if you enjoyed what I had to say about stats, you definitely can head on over there and maybe enjoy what I have to say about transfers as well. So if you do enjoy maybe talking about how to maybe fix, certainly we've been talking about, God, we're going to get exposed on that left-hand side by Raphinha. We need a new left-sided center back. I've basically just wrapped up, everybody, all the left-sided center backs that we should go for. I went for Benoit Badiashile, Pau Torres, Sven Botman, Alessandro Bastoni. I think there was even another one that I even am missing as well. So I fixed that left-sided center back position for you. There's going to be plenty of other areas I'm going to go for. Going for that box-to-box midfielder. We definitely have gone for Frank Kessié. We did that one a while back. I just recently did a Milinkovic-Savic. Maybe it wouldn't be a bad choice as well. Certainly been spoiled for choices, as well as a center defensive mid, which would be like a Brozovic, Bruno Guimaraes, and players like that we've already reviewed. So basically, if you want to fix, or even if you enjoy a bit of FIFA as well, I would say just watch that channel, because then you can just look at those stat highlights, those kind of, highlight reactions and whatnot, and be like, maybe I should buy that guy in FIFA to fix my Spurs squad. Even as well, if you just like to think about how we can fix Spurs in the transfer market, that basically will be your Bible come January, come, December as well. But everybody head on over to the second channel. It is a great place for you to be able to just talk transfers. Also just talk things outside of Spurs sometimes as well. But big up, everybody. Thank you very much for joining on this one. And also, if you have time, please head on over to that second channel.
And look, we're so close to 500 over there as well. So, guys, let's see if we can get there. Let's see if we can get it to 500. Like Jack says, and I always say, it's your Bible. It's coming to that time where you need to wake up every morning in January. You need your Bible. Flat Cap Euro Talk is it. Also, do get over and check out our Twitch channel, Flat Cap Euro Talk as well. A lot of hype around the FIFA lately. Ben from We Are Tottenham TV seems to really enjoy it. So if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for anybody out there. Trust me. Do get over there. It's kind of, you get more of me and Jack winding down sort of thing. It's pretty funny. It's pretty funny when one of us kind of go off on one or something. So do get over there and check that out. But look, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. A massive thank you to everybody who spread the word on this show. When we first started doing it was 40, 50 viewers. Today, we nearly reached 200. It's absolutely unbelievable how this show is just progressing week in, week out, guys. So I'm glad that so many of you enjoy it out there. A massive thank you to everybody who smashed that like button. A massive thank you to all the new subscribers. And a massive thank you to everybody, who helped support this channel financially with the super chats and everything else. You're all absolutely amazing. But guys, I want to see everybody back here at noon tomorrow. I really do. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Until then, come on, you
Spurs. And Conte we trust.